60 cents. He's just getting it. $0.60. He's just getting it. $0.60. He's just getting it.
beyond and Ryan Ingram are now in front and will win.
Kaboo! I actually ride out with Seb, and we were talking about this morning riding out, and he gave me a ring on the way down here, and we did actually talk through it, and I pretty much did exactly as he said, and he was right.
All runners at the gates, and they're off. River of Stars kicking off the home turn. Couple of lengths in front. A typewriter with Loft moving through on the inside. River of Stars has 2.5 lengths in hand. River of Stars holding on from Loft as they run up towards the line. River of Stars makes all to win the Chester Stakes.
Pleasure to ride. Very easy ride. It's easy when they're like that.
And the field is in the stretch, and it is Nest who has asked for more, and she is responding here. Here is Nest. She is at the top of her class. Nest wins the Alabama by 5 lengths. Homeward bound, and Spenderella just sweeps on by and opens up on them. And it's Spenderella striding away. 4, 5, 6 could not have been more impressive. Spenderella turns it into a procession.
Group 1, Darling Free Morning, and they're off. Persian Force far side, Blackbeard near side on the stand trail. Blackbeard from Persian Force. Past the 100-metre mark is Blackbeard and Ryan Moore. Hard at work from Persian Force and Frankie Dettori, but Blackbeard wins the morning.
Whoops. There he is. Tell you what, Huey, Zoom has knocked 10 years off you.
Gone down the wrong way, I can't.
Have we got this on camera, just in case he does go, lads?
Then they're off for our Darling Free Jean Romanet Group 1. They're now well inside the home straight. Aristia for Richard Hannon, Sean Levy out in front. Very elegant, hasn't picked up as yet as it comes through the closing stages. Aristia trying to hang on here from Ross Carberry. It is Aristia out in front from Ross Carberry. Aristia.
Good afternoon. You're very welcome to Race Day Live. And, well, if you were on before and watching us, you'll notice that we have doubled the number of presenters in the studio, thankfully, for everybody else. Freddie, you're very, very welcome. Good to see you.
And you, Kieran, how are you?
I'm good. I'm much better now that you're here. I would say the same for everybody who's watching at home, to be honest. So.
Tell me, I saw a great little clip of you doing hurling for cancer. How was that all?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, if you ever want something that's going to make you feel good about the day and about the world, go down to that event. It's just an incredible. There's about 8,000 or 10,000 people there.
Yeah.
All the great and the good of the sporting world in Ireland had turned up, and people even outside of, sports world have turned up, like celebrities from RTE and all that kind of thing. And they even let me in.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
It was great. It was brilliant. It's an amazing occasion. You ever get a chance to go down to Newbridge for that? Make sure you do. Whether you're in England, you can go over for a week or whatever. You'll enjoy it. In the meantime, we've got to have a look at what's happening this week, and more specifically, this day. There you go. We've got Thapa VC at Lingfield in the 310. It's going to be somewhere around 4-1, 9-2 or so, looking to build on another winning streak. Ron Hornby is back on board. Cawthorne absolutely bolted up at Market Raisin. Heads to Sedgefield for the 620 today. A little uneasy in the betting so far. A way to go yet. And this man, Maxime Guillon, versus Soumillon. Soumillon, remember, is starting his suspension today. A chance for Guillon to cement the French Jockeys Championship, which he already leads comfortably as well. Lingfield gets underway in 40 minutes or so time, with a little nod to tomorrow night with the Racing League on Sky Sports Racing Amateur Jockeys Handicap for the stayers over a mile and 7.5 furlongs. That's our opening race from there. I mentioned earlier on that 240 rather is a good competitive looking handicap over a mile. Sky Sports Racing Sky 415 handicap. We will be looking through all of these with Bob Cooper. I'm delighted to say he'll be joining us shortly enough. Also, we have plenty more to look forward to later on. Sedgefield will take centre stage as we move through the afternoon. First race is the beautifully named Welcome to Our Family Baby Iris Novice Hurdle. Couldn't get a better name than that for starting the card in good form. The 450 is over 2.5 miles. The first 3 races actually are over 2.5 miles, and then we go towards the stayers with that 3 mile 3 Ruffalo supporting Great North Air Ambulance Novices Handicap Chase at 7:20. Now, Vichy, we got to mention as well. We haven't managed to get there just yet, but it will be coming up, and we've got Lauren in the studio. He's in great form. Our first 3 races at Dax. He wasn't that keen on anything in the first race, but he got the winner in the second and the third, 9-4 and 6-4. So we'll be testing him throughout the day at Vichy, where it's very soft. First race gets underway in just under half an hour's time. We've still got one more to take from Dax as well. The highlights at Vichy, I would imagine, will be the 208, the Savinia Stakes over a mile, and also over the 8 furlongs Grand Gris Stakes at 2:43. Let's have a quick peek through some of the non-runners at Dax in our remaining race. You can take out number 13, Petit Coquin, in the 12:45. At Vichy in the 4:30, number 11, Alban Man. And at Sedgefield in the 7:20, number 5, Cardboard Gangster, won't be turning up for what should be a fascinating card. Looking forward to that later on. Let's have a look at the best backed horses of the day. Starting off at Lingfield, third race on the card, the 2:10 on reflection. Look at that, 6-1 into 100-30 for James Tate and Jack Mitchell. Going into a maiden stakes today, having run in a novice stakes last time. That might well turn out to be a pretty decent bit of form, and is dropping back in trip. And then over at Sedgefield in the 6:20, plenty of money about for Tonto Spirit. We mentioned about Cawthorne. Well, Tonto Spirit in the same race has been well backed against the favourite for Diane Sayer and Conor O'Farrell. Look at the market movers going the other way. Sir Joseph Swain in the opener, the 1:10 at Lingfield, 6-4 out to 9-4. Alexis in the 1:40 at Lingfield, 13-8 out to 5-2. Ramden Rocks in the 3:40 at Lingfield, 7-2 out to 6-1. And Calliope in the 5:20 at Sedgefield, 1 of 2 that is drifting there, 130 out to 8-1. And Cawthorne, as we mentioned, in spite of bolting up the last day at Market Raising, has gone from 11-10 out to 7-4 in that 6:20. A reminder about the At the Races app. You can scan it straight off the screen there if you want. You got your race cards, form study. You know all the stuff, but it's been updated and it has every bell and whistle that you could imagine to see if you can get your hands on that, metaphorically speaking. In the meantime, metaphorically speaking, we're going to get our hands on Bob Cooper. There you go. That's an intro for you.
Sir Bob.
Sir Bob, how are you?
I'm very well, Keir, so I'm just turning my volume up. I actually accidentally turned it down. I'm fine, thank you. It's a lovely day here at Lingfield. We get underway quite soon, actually. We've got an amateur riders race. I was just shouting across to Ross Burkett, who's got an interesting runner in the first race for his mum, Julia Fielden, Fen Tiger. And he said the horse is quite a straightforward ride. Just needs a bit of cover. He'll get that in a big field. So I think Fen Tiger's got a good chance in the first. We get underway quite soon. Something for everyone today. We've got some really tricky handicaps, Kieran. No, you love your handicaps, don't you? That 3:10, it looks impossible to me. So I've napped something in it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but am I right in saying, though, I know you mentioned this looks impossible to you, but that you really fancy one in here?
Well, no, I just thought I'd nap something because it'll be a bit of a price, won't it? I mean, it was Silver Dollar I've gone for there. It does look impossible, but I quite like impossible races because something's got to win, hasn't it? I'm not going to, there are no prizes. If we stand here and nap a 15-8 shot, which will probably get beaten anyway if it's me, I might as well go for Silver Dollar, and everyone will think, oh, that's a brave shout, and when it loses, people will just completely forget. But it was round about, I think it drifted actually, put in at 15-2 last night. You probably got the prices in front of you. I think I saw 12-1, yeah. But the reason why, I know you're going to ask me why I fancy that one, but Luke Morris rides the track very well. And when the horse won over course and distance last time, he was drawn 10, which is very, very difficult. Much better draw today in 3. So I thought in a trappy-looking race, Silver Dollar would have a good chance of following up.
Yeah, he's only got £3 extra to carry from the last day, isn't it? That's not going to make a massive difference.
Bag of sugar.
Bag of sugar. I think that's probably an accurate description. But, I mean, I agree with you about the idea. If you're going to nap something, go for something at a price. I like the fact that you said, it's impossible, but that's where your best bet is.
I know. There's something slightly sort of contrary about that, isn't it? I like it's quite nice, the impossible. I like looking at these tricky handicaps. When you get a good thing, then it makes it more difficult. There are so many with chances there. I mean, the horse I quite like, Thapper VC, who's trained quite near me at home, was with Sir Mark Prescott, now with Mark Rymel. He came here. We had a course and distance win last time. He's got a wide draw, which is a little bit worrying. I've seen Papa Cocktail and Ford Maddox Brown. They've been opposing. Ford Maddox Brown finished just in front of Papa Cocktail when they last met, and Papa's just been beaten narrowly last time. I think those two are major players as well. I might even try a trifecta, I think, Kieran.
Oh, that'll be a huge price, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, why not? Papa Cocktail, Ford Maddox Brown and Silver Dollar. Yeah.
If you get them, I mean, that's going to pay a huge amount of money. I tell you, I'm going to bring in Freddie. Freddie Talitsky is with us in the studio on this 310. He's itching to get in.
We need him.
Absolutely. Rob, I think that's a very good shout. I like Papa Cocktail as well. I think he ran an absolute blinder under Connor Planas last time out. He obviously claims a valuable 7 off this horse's back again. And he should be thereabouts. And Thapa VC, obviously, is a 5-time winner on the all-weather, Bob. And I'm going to go with the trifecta with you.
Great. I'll put the money on and I'll collect a bit later on, Freddie.
Well, make sure you don't do a runner now.
No, I'm worrying about you doing the runner, actually, but I'll be collecting the winnings, so that's the main thing. But it was also quite interesting, the horse in the last race. All my papers have got out of order, as usual. But there's a horse that landed Benoit de la Sayette in big trouble. He just returned from a 14-day ban, and the horse that got him there was Ramden Rocks 2 runs ago. It was thought to be not to be given a great ride, and he got a 14-day suspension. Ismail Mohammed's horse has had a run since, didn't
and car water and dual fuel can make the functional beautiful. And with fast and free delivery, you're closer to cool than you might think. To curate your space, visit bestheating.com. Heating made cooler.
Because we love our dogs, we should reward them with delicious food to help them thrive. Bella & Duke has worked with vets to develop a range that's 100% natural. First, you tell us about your dog online. Then we'll recommend a food, all made from at least 80% fresh raw meat with added berries and vegetables. Finally, it's delivered frozen to your door. It's not just our natural raw food that's good for your dog. When you subscribe, you also have 24/7 access to our vet helpline, offering you free expert advice when you need it. Show your dog just how much you love them. Visit bellandduke.com/TV and receive up to 50% off your first box.
Bella & Duke.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
Corcovado is at the top of the betting here along with Rose de Sable for our latest at DAX. And I tell you what, this is certainly going to test Lauren because this is a devilishly difficult handicap over 7 furlongs. But, you know, the tougher the task, the more that Lauren will pour his heart and soul into it, and the more likely he's going to get us a winner. Isn't that right, Lauren? He says, smiling back at us.
Yeah, it's a lovely challenge, isn't it? Oh, no, but it's a tricky one. But Corcovado, yes, this is his first handicap. His last run was in a Class 2 over the course and distance. Very good Class 2. Purely on form, he stands out, but he has to carry so much weight. So much weight, that's the issue here. But the stable he's from is red hot at the moment. Red hot. The other one that I think I would have a slight preference over Corcovado is Rose de Sable, the number 9, whose last run over the course and distance was also very good. Consistent filly, has made the running in the last 3 starts. Not the ideal draw, but a better draw than Corcovado, and she carries 10 kilos less, which is not a small thing over this race course here. And the third one I wanted to mention is Badass, who carries only 51.5 kilos today. Freddie can do the translation, but 51.5 kilos, it's a very lightweight. A very good last run at flat test over 5.5. The rise in distance is going to suit him. But from the 3 I've mentioned, I think Rose not as good as Corcovado so far, but I think she can take on the favourite here.
Okay. Okay, so we would see Rose de Sable for you?
Yeah, it's this number 9, yeah.
Is it very hot over in France at the moment, Lauren?
Very hard. You mean the ground?
Just the weather there, the fact that you're in your shorts.
Yes, it's very warm today. Where I live, sorry. Where I live, sorry, it's 36 degrees today.
I wish it was like that here. A little reminder about the Travers Stakes. It'll be hot in Saratoga anyway at the weekend on Saturday. Our coverage gets underway at 8 o'clock. Epicenter among the stars that will be turning up in New York is fantastic to watch and to look forward to. Now back to this very competitive looking race at DAX, the 12:45 from there. 3-1 the field still, but preference for the number 9 for Lauren. Now, they're nearly all loaded in the shimmering sun at DAX, over 7 furlongs, 12:45 from there. As mentioned by Lauren, he's going for Rose de Sable. Sorry for when I came back to you there, Lauren. I was distracted, actually, by your shorts, I'll be honest with you, and that's why I couldn't remember what you said.
I've been living in shorts for the last 3 months here in France. Yeah.
Not the same shorts?
No.
Thankfully. Anyway, listen, the tipping is flying as well today. And
Badass number 6 is a good each way value, 12-1. This number 6 is worth an each way punt. I remain confident of a good run from Rose de Sable, but Badass good each way.
What about horse number 5, Louis Sky, gelding by George Vancouver, won last time out, drawn very wide here today, Laurent. Is the draw obviously going to be against him?
Yes, drawn very wide, hasn't run since the end of January. Big step back in trip as well, because when he won it was over 10 furlong on the all-weather. He's never raced on turf so far, so there are many uncertainties about the horse, and he's coming back in action without the cheek pieces, so I doubt he's fit yet. Maybe wrong, but I think he'll be racing on the all-weather later this season and winning on the all-weather later this season. That's what I suspect.
Okay, interesting stuff. They're just waiting on one more to go in over at Dax, 7 furlongs ahead of him. Tell you what, let's join Richard Swainston.
Favouritism at the moment, 3.9 just about Corcovado, the early favourite, now once again favourite with number 9 now 4.5 Rose de Sable, but Corcovado just proving a little troublesome, or a little reluctant at least, to go in for this 3-year-old handicap at 1400 metres, 7 furlongs here at Dax. Corcovado, oh dear, Corcovado just kicking out a little. Adeline Maru trying to encourage Corcovado into stall 13. Corcovado not having any of it at the moment. So the blindfold fitted. Third favourite at the moment is El Argencano, who's being backed 8.7 to 4.9 with Delphine Santiago on board. Another one to claim the female allowance. And that one, 5th on his last couple of starts, 3 wins from 12 starts in total for El Argencano. Last victory coming at Pau back in February. This Corcovado proving most reluctant. Other victories for El Argencano coming over the border in Spain, San Sebastian back in August of last year, and then, as I say, winning a Pau in the chilly days of February, and 5th last time out again back over the border in Spain in San Sebastian, having finished 5th at La Teste. El Argencano attracting support. This is Corcovado. Thought it had a very good chance. It's proving very reluctant. One last push maybe, and Corcovado goes in. So 12 of them ready for this 3-year-old handicap, 1400 metres, 7 furlongs. And we're just about ready, all in, and we're off. Away we go, 1400 metres, 7 furlongs a trip. Rose de Sable, one of the fancies, was swiftly out, as indeed was Corcovado's main market rival. Up on the inside, there's Deja Vu.
Program is sponsored.
Far side, Marco Gianni and Real World have won by many lengths.
Blessing is getting up. Blessing, a masterclass by Jamie Spencer.
Redemption day for Frankie. Inspiral, inspired.
Yeah, the Racing League is back tomorrow night at Newcastle. Fantastic track. It's the third week of the Racing League. We're a third of the way through it, but after that we'll be halfway through it. And of course Matt Chapman leads the way, but the gap has closed after the second week. We were speaking earlier on to Jamie Osborne, and they have got some well-fancied horses for tomorrow night, and it will be my guess, my prediction, that the gap at the top will be much closer after tomorrow. And we might see a few other changes down below that in terms of the table. Very competitive racing, just the kind of stuff you want on a Thursday night, with top quality action, top quality trainers, top quality jockeys. Don't forget Frankie's turning up tomorrow night, among many others as well. Now, Vichy, our first visit there. We're on very soft going for the opener, the 1 o'clock at Vichy. And looking at this race, it's a maiden stakes, as I said, over a mile and a half here. And we've got, as you often get, a short one in the maiden stakes with Wuzina, who's been very, very well back. For Maxime Guillon, who we spoke about earlier on, he's got an opportunity to really copper fasten his grip on the French jockey's title, the Cravache d'Or. He's on 131. He's 9 ahead of Soumillon, and Soumillon is now banned until the start of September. That starts today. And when you look back through it, I mean, Soumillon has won this title 11 times, 10 times when he shared it once. And then Maxime Guillon has only won it once, Laurent, but he's been runner-up 8 times. So this is a fantastic opportunity for him.
Oh, yes, and he's not going to let it go. You know, he's got nine wins advantage at the moment. Christophe Soumillon is off for basically the most part of the week here, of the next week. So it's the right time, to create the gap. And Christophe Soumillon himself admitted a couple of days ago on the French Racing Channel that it would be very difficult to go and catch Maxime Guillon. So, and then 6 tries today for Maxime Guillon. And as you can see, there's 2 favorites, and a couple of other real good chances. So, likely to extend the gap today.
Yeah, and when does it actually finish? I mean, when is the final day? You don't have to know the exact day, but roughly, just so we've got an idea, perspective as to how much Soumillon would have to do to get it back.
It's the 31st of October, if I'm correct. From 1st of March until 31st of October. This is the first time this year, and this is a kind of trial year for the French Championship, a new version of the French Championship that normally used to run
of those as marker remains Shamani. So down the far side they go here at Vichy, and out in front still Linfort. Linfort by a length and a half or so to Wuzina in second position. Cap Farewell in third place, followed by Sulliankar, Marie Vellon in fourth. Then we've got Cabana in fifth, and last of the six is again the debutant Shamani. As it continue down the far side here at Vichy, this 3-year-old maiden, and it is Linford still out in front by a length and a half to Wuzina in second position. We've got Cap Farewell in third, followed by Sulliankar in fourth. Behind that one is Cabana, and the back marker is Shamani. No change in the order as yet, as Linford still continues to take them along, but they're leaving the back straight behind. Wuzina and Maxime Guillon is in second position, followed by Cap Farewell just coming alongside. So that's the leading trio. Then we've got Sulliankar, followed by Cabana, and still the debutant Shamani is the back marker. But they're heading towards home, and it's Linford, Michael Forrest still out in front, having made all the running so far. Cap Farewell, who is attracting some good support. So then the favourite Wuzina, followed on the outside there by the two-tone blue of Cabana. Wuzina now just being pushed along a little bit as it comes to the 400 marker. Sulliankar, and then came Shamani. About 300 metres to go, and Wuzina is now asked to go about its business under Maxime Guillon as it comes towards the 200. Linfort is battling away in second position there. Cabana far side, near side is Cap Farewell as it comes in the closing stages, and Linfort wandering all over the place, but it is Wuzina straight as an arrow. It's going to land this one from Linfort in second, and that's Cap Farewell in third, followed by Cabana in fourth place.
Well, the market got it right in the end. Wuzina gets up to win, aided and abetted by a very errant Linfort in the end. 4-6 favourite beats a 9-4 favourite. I'm afraid we have to get straight to Lingfield because their next race is coming up pretty shortly, Freddie. They're down at the start, so we bring you in on this. You mentioned you rode the dam of that, Linfort.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Wuzina.
Move on to Lingfield here. The 110 Sir Joseph Swan is the one I really like. It's obviously favoured here, 2-1 so far. You know, the fact is, at these amateur races, I always look out for Simon Walker, 12 times amateur champion, would you believe? That speaks for itself, and I just fancy, obviously, the horses that he rides. And this horse is rock solid. He's had one turf win so far, but he's been placed on several occasions here at Lingfield and on an artificial surface. So there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this fella lets himself down on it. And he's got some rock solid form going into this. He seems to be staying well. He tried the 2 miles last time at Kempton, and he finished a good third of 12 to Flying Standard. David Egan rode him on that occasion. Got a good draw here in one, obviously the plum draw. And I think Simon Walker will keep things simple here. And this fella, you know, it's definitely an each-way chance, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's, let me see, I mean, well, he's now 15-8.
Well, that's not each way anymore. That's win only, isn't it?
Win only, half the house.
It's fast. It's fearless. It's flat racing. Are you ready?
That's the one.
Get in on the action with William Hill's Extra Place races. Available every day, all season long. William Hill's Extra Places. Big value every day from William Hill. It's who you play with. William Hill.
That's Fen Tiger about to go in. I think Fen Tiger, according to the betting, is the biggest danger to Sir Joseph Swan, and had a quick word with Ross Burkitt as he was heading off to saddle Julia Fielden's horse. First time that he's run at Lingfield, Fen Tiger, but he's been in good form. He won at Leicester. Freddie Larson rode him then, and he got beaten only 3/4 of a length last time. And if he handles the track, there's no reason why he shouldn't. Ross Burkitt will give him a good ride, and he's a good rider, is Ross. He's ridden 3 winners already this season. He's been riding, I had a quick count up, about 35, 36 winners since 2007, so he's one of the more experienced pilots. I mentioned Richard Phillips, his horse Toulane has been running pretty well, just 1 win from 24 starts. That was when leading the field a merry dance at Kempton some time ago, but hasn't been running badly in defeat since then. He's got a chance. Pat Phelan I spoke to, he thought Iconic Mover could run well. He's never won a race yet. 60s icon gelding, but he got beaten only 3 lengths last time behind that Jimmy Fox horse. I doubt that. That's the one that landed a massive gamble 3 runs ago at Kempton, and won again at Kempton about 3 weeks ago. And otherwise, I think we've mentioned quite a few. There's been a bit of money for Bird for Life of Mark Ushers, who usually spoils her chances by being slowly away and runs on. Anyway, in the commentary box, it's Alan Howes.
And they're off, racing away, 2 miles of journey, slow to come away from the stalls there was Final Choice as they race 2 miles for the Racing League on Sky Sports Racing Amateur Jockeys Handicap Stakes. It's Tulane that goes into the early lead under Matthew Ennis. Goes on from Percy's Prince and Joe Levy. Racing in second, Sir Joseph Swan under Simon Walker is disputing third within green and white alongside Iconic Mover under Freddie Mitchell as they turn down the side for the first time. Fen Tiger's next, and the dark green and maroon silk. Ross Birkin on board the nose-banded runner. Affair is quite keen to the outside in dark green and white under Alicia Perkins is having a first ever ride, and Affair is rather pulling her young rider to the front here, and Affair has now moved through to pick it up. So Affair goes on under Alicia Perkins, kind of over racing here though. As they begin to head back towards home, the first time has now got about 5 lengths clear. From Tulane, Percy's Prince and Sir Joseph Swan. An Iconic Mover, Fen Tiger is next. Then Master Grey under Pat Millman, followed a length away by Kalea to the inside under Henry Main and the green and red silks. A Blue Beret in the dark blue and pink under Serena Brotherton. It's on a breaker by about 4 to 5 lengths to find Yazane in mauve and white silks rider Molly Legg. Alioski's next under Isabel Ryder in those blue and white colours. Bird for Life is further back, the dark blue and white, the cheek pieces under Megan Jordan, and the back marker, the slow to stride Final Choice under Michael Jeffries. Well, Affair, who pulled herself to the front just before the turn back towards home, has now gone the best part of 12 to 15 lengths clear maybe down the back straight as they head towards the final 7 furlongs. Tulane in second, Percy's Prince is back in third. Then Sir Joseph Swan, an Iconic Mover, 2 lengths away to Fen Tiger, then Master Grey. Further 3 lengths back to Blue Beret. Behind Blue Beret is Kalea, then Bird for Life, and behind Bird for Life is Yazane. Final Choice has now made 1 position as Alioski is the back marker. They're running towards the final 5 furlongs shortly, and Affair is still clear at this point under Alicia Perkins. Must be about still 10 lengths clear, I'd say, at this stage. From Tulane and Matthew Ennis, and then Percy's Prince and Joe Levy. Master Grey and Pat Millman back in fourth. Iconic Mover is next. And behind Iconic Mover then towards the inside, Sir Joseph Swan, Fen Tiger, Blue Beret and Bird for Life, the next ones. Ridden along then for Maurice Kalea. Yazane is still much further back along with Final Choice and Alioski under Isabel Ryder, the back markers. And they're making their way down towards the final 3 furlongs. Affairs leaders all but diminished here as Master Grey has come 3 now to lead up. Master Grey has been sent to the front by Pat Millman. From Iconic Mover, it's now moved up into second place. Fen Tiger inheriting third now. Sir Joseph Swan is on the improve up into fourth, and the field are about to turn towards home. It is Master Grey is out in front by 3 lengths to Iconic Mover in second. Fen Tiger ridden along back in third. Bird for Life is staying on late in the day. Master Grey with the lead inside the final furlong and stretching away by 4 lengths to Fen Tiger in second. Bird for Life is still rattling home. It's Master Grey, though, who has the lead and will win. Master Grey and Pat Millman, the winners. From Fen Tiger in second, Bird for Life in third. Then Iconic Mover, Alioski with some late headway, followed in by Sir Joseph Swan.
No sign of Sir Joseph Swan, sadly, for favourite backers, but Master Grey, if you've been waiting for Master Grey to win, you've had a heck of a long wait. The last time he won was back in June 2019, 3 years ago, over 3 years ago. But he's been given a peach of a ride by a very accomplished rider, actually, Patrick Millman. He's been riding for a few years and, of course, riding for his dad, Rod. And Master Grey swept to the front, the grey horse. And the old 7-year-old, well, he's not that old, the 7-year-old has run on strongly to win at 10 to 1. Fen Tiger's run best of the fancied horses. And rather as I expected, Bird for Life, she's very difficult to win with. She's slowly away often. She often and nearly quite frequently puts in some good late work, and she's done exactly that today under Megan Jordan. and a big gap back to the fourth horse, which was Iconic Mover, but no sighting at all of Sir Joseph Swan and Simon Walker. The early fractions were set by having her first ride, Alicia Perkins, on Affair, and she looked pretty tidy as well until Affair got a little bit weary. So that'll be a good experience, first racing experience for Alicia. But Master Grey at 10 to 1. If you've been waiting 3 years for this one to win, today has been the day.
Certainly was, and it was an excellent ride as well, I thought, from Patrick Millman. And that Grey just wasn't coming back to them at all. We got to mention the favourite as well, though, here, Freddie, because he ended up in a pocket and he was just couldn't get out and couldn't land a blow.
No, but this was all about the winner here. Was given a great ride, polished ride by young Pat here, who obviously helps out his father Rot quite a lot in the yard there. And watch this, he's making the horse's mind up at about the 3.5 furlong marker, gets rolling down the hill here and really nicks the race, and that's exactly it at Linkfield. If you give your horse a kick in the belly from around there, 1.5 furlongs out, you swing around here, you can nick 1 to 2 lengths, sometimes even 3 lengths, and if they find it hard to make up that ground. So Pat, very much accomplished rider here. He knows the time of the day. He's been around and he's given this an absolute peach, I have to say, because he made up the horse's mind there, and he set, you know, 4 home from a long way out, got it rolling nicely, and yeah, delivered the job very sweetly, I have to say.
Did very much so, and Bob mentioned about Bird for Life. Very hard to win with staying on from off the pace. Likes an all-weather surface. I wonder what they... Has never run Bird for Life up at Newcastle. I wonder what they consider that. That stiff finish 2 miles there would be ideal on the basis of what we just saw. Master Grey, though, and Master Class in the end from Patrick Millman.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
When you invest with the power of community, it suddenly hits you. You'll never be on your own, because investing with eToro is like teaming up with someone like him. Or her. Nice. Making smart moves that'll set you apart. Because when you join a team, say cheese, you have someone to learn from, to get directions, or, well, support. Someone to turn to when making big decisions. 25 million someones. Become a smarter stock investor with the power of an investing community. Join eToro to learn from others and discuss strategies before you invest. eToro, the power of social investing.
Release tax-free cash for a more colourful retirement with a Legal & General lifetime mortgage.
My chance to see more of the world. My home helps pay for it.
If you're a homeowner aged 55 or over, you could release some of the equity tied up in your home.
My room-by-room makeover. My home helps pay for it.
Our specialist advisors can talk you through your options and even tell you if it's not right for you. Call us free on 0808 115 0408. Legal & General, for a more colourful retirement.
At Bet365, we take horse racing very seriously. We go out of our way to feature every race that matters. If it's important to you, then it's important to us. We're the world's favorite online betting brand for many reasons. Horse racing is just one of them. Gamble responsibly.
with a range of bed frames starting from $399. So you can bring your home to life with the dream bedroom. The Cotswold Company. Discover our range at your nearest store or at cotswoldco.com.
At Eden, we've developed the art of living outside, inside, sheltered from the elements yet surrounded by nature. An Eden glass veranda is made to measure, precision engineered and so versatile. And right now, you can save 25%. With an Eden glass veranda, you can enjoy al fresco living by day and night. For a free, no-obligation survey, call Eden now on 0800 316 0114.
My friend told me about Plum last year. One app where I can save, invest and manage my money. It's so easy. Download Plum to get started today.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
Now your chance to be at the St. Leger with Doncaster Racing and Events. Win a trip to the Kazoo St. Leger on Saturday 10th of September. The excitement is building for it. Looks like it's going to be yet another excellent renewal of the last NASCAR of the season. Prize for two includes overnight stay at the Hilton Garden Inn, table in the Garden Suite, including Yorkshire brunch, afternoon tea and complimentary drinks. Course walk with the most famous couple in racing, Holly Doyle and Tom Marquand, two superb jockeys, and best turned out and prize presentation. There you go. You can enter now at theraces.com/ledgercomp. And here's the question you have to answer. Which horse won the 2021 Kazoo St. Leger? Is it A, Hurricane Lane, B, Hurricane Run? Simple as that. To get the winner out of that, and you could be the winner of the competition itself. Now, second race on the card from Vichy. It's a National Hunt flat race over 1.5 miles, interestingly enough, here at Vichy, where Jeannette is probably going to be favoured, either Jeannette or Jenakel. It's very competitive, actually, between those and also the 6th Joy team. At the head of the betting, we need Laurent. Laurent, what's your thoughts on our second from Vichy?
Well, my first thought was that Jeannette's got a very nice profile. She's a progressive filly. She, it took her 3 starts to go up the mark at a small venue in Western France, and then she confirmed later on a better track at Le Lion d'Angers. Nice filly, a bit of experience. It's ideal to come into this Group 3 bumper. So we'll see how it goes. She has to carry the top weight here, but I don't think it really matters. And Joy Team, the number 6, is the obvious danger. Unbeaten in 2 starts. Winner over the course and distance at the end of July. It's a legitimate, a logical step up in grade here going into this Group 2. She won really nicely last time out, Joy Team, in front of Joyeuse d'Artel and Joliment, who are in the race today. But I just like the way Jeannette won at Le Lion d'Angers. It was visual impression. It's hard to split them purely on paper, but I like the visual impression left by Jeannette, and I feel she's got plenty more to offer.
Okay, just out of curiosity, Joy des Aubes, is there any chance with the weight swing that she could get a bit closer today to the, I was going to say the favourite, not favourite now.
Yeah, she was beaten just over a length last time, so in theory, she can definitely get closer. She was a very impressive winner first time out. She's certainly not one to, to underrate in this contest. She's 2 kilos better in the weight, so that should be in theory enough. But I do have a slight preference for the profile of Jeannette, was improved with every run, so I think there's still more to come.
Okay, they're still in the parade ring, but they'll be heading down to the start fairly shortly. 3 from there. 9-4 the price now about Joy Team, who has been very well backed. And look, we've got the 8 runners as well here, Laurent. So are there any that catch the eye at bigger prices?
It's a very tricky. Would be slightly higher than she is, but no. We could give a mention to Jane Akel. What price is Jane Akel? 722. So it's not worth it because she's trained by the trainer of the AQPS in France, not only but Alain Quetil. He's got a big yard of AQPS. He normally has the best ones in France or in general. We can certainly Keep an eye on the other one from Anne-Sophie Paco, Jolie Mans. Although she looks a little bit held on paper, she beat a useful horse, a useful filly when she went off the mark at Herbré. Well, I think was going to be a useful filly anyway. We'll see. Maybe Jolie Mans can be given a mention, but for me, it's really between Janet and Joy T.
Okay, you just mentioned about Jane Kell as well. I mean, wasn't too far away in a Group 3 last time.
No, it was the race won by Janet. She was right up there. Once again, she meets with Janet on better terms. So she's another one. She was very close to Joie des Obos. There was just a short neck in between the two. If this one happened to win, it would not be a surprise. Janet Kell, she's a daughter of Martaline, unlikely to go jumping, but still she seems valuable. She won well when she won first time out at Vichy here. It was over the course and distance, and although the form of the race has yet to work out, she looks very useful.
Okay, many thanks. Now, I'm afraid Vichy will probably clash with Linkfield, so if it does, obviously we'll bring it to you off tape. However, Linkfield, the second race on the card from there, is coming up in just about 6 or 7 minutes' time, so we better get back to Surrey, where here at Linkfield we've got a 2-to-1 favourite, Alexis. Second time out, having run well in what looks like a good race at Ascot, that novice race last time, and is currently being really solidly backed, Bob, in the market. We can see Alexis in shot, and to be fair, she looks pretty impressive, Bob.
Yeah, she ran very well in her first run. She got beaten at Ascot, as you say, by an Andrew Ball Chet, keeping on really well. She was it was a very good first run. That race has worked out well. The second horse, Aunt Violet, was quite well beaten next time, and the third got beaten less than a length. So the form is nothing special, but it was certainly a good run by Alexis. The bell has gone for the jockeys to get mounted. Another one just coming past me here. I'm not quite sure where Clive has gone. I heard Jason talking about Clive the other day. He goes off like a scalded cat. If you turn to your left, Clive, you'll see number 3 coming towards you. Joseph Parr, Joe Parr, Alice Bond, who's ridden Liberty Mountain in both her runs so far. And she didn't run badly, actually. She was beaten 4 lengths by a horse of Archie Watson's called Heavenly Breath at Kempton, over 7, some sort of chance. See what else is coming our way. We just go to the left again and see number 6, worth having a look at, Jackie Diamond, Holly Doyle's first ride of the day, riding for Dominic French-Davis. Ran in the fog at Brighton and didn't run badly, actually. It didn't cost very much, 5,000 guinea yielding, but that makes no difference at all. Got beaten a length by a Marco Botti trained winner called Out of the Shadows. And the other one I'd like to have a look at, we'll probably have a look at her down at the start. No, just coming this way. 5 is here, number 7, which is, I think, La Few, I think it is, because she's out of Melody of Love. Trained by Simon and Ed Crisford, number 7 anyway, that's the one. And she was made 11-10 favourite on her debut at Windsor. I mean, it's a race I remember really well because the racing club I'm involved in. We won the race with Corinthian Kid, but Luffy was backed as if defeat was out of the question. She got beaten miles in the end. Oh, a bit of a schmozzle at the just going out of the entrance of the parade ring, and Pearly Gates is just playing up a bit. Ben Sanderson is okay and just waiting to go down. I think it's going to be led down. It's got the red preliminary hood on, and well, it's a bit of a traffic jam in behind, so that was just a near miss. And just coming in front of us now, we see the blue colours there, Mrs. P. Good's colours on La Few, and she must have been showing something at home because she was very, very heavily supported at Windsor and didn't show anything behind Corinthian Kid. The form of the race is nothing special, but she was beaten far too easily and far too early, and I'm sure she's better than that today, number 7. And that is it. They're all and still playing up is Pearly Gates. Open up them Pearly Gates, and the trainer Bill Turner is close at hand, and his daughter Kathy. I rather wish Ben Sanderson all the best of luck. heading down to the 7 furlong start. But an interesting two-year race. Alexis has got some good form, but one or two others have got a bit of potential as well, Kieran.
Bob, and well done to Ben Sanderson and that lady there who's worked the oracle with Pearly Gates, who spent a few minutes there trying to send anybody who went anywhere near to her really towards the Pearly Gates, to be honest with you, but just settling a little bit. Freddie, this is a moment, I'm sure you've been in this kind of situation before. What goes through your mind as a jockey?
Oh, you wouldn't be too keen of that horse when when they act as badly as that. And saving that energy going down to post, which is so crucial, especially around Linkfield, where you're going down the furlong marker and now you're turning around and you got to hack all the way to the far side, which is the 7 furlong start. So you want to do that nice and slowly. Good thing is he's got a couple of horses in front of him now, so he's got something to aim at, and hopefully she'll just relax a little bit more. She's very much on edge.
Yeah, she is very much on edge, but he's doing a good job with her anyway, and just playing with her with his little fingers to try and ease her down and get her to just tuck her head in anyway. 2-1 the price of bet. Alexis now, though, heading the betting really strong after that bit of form at Ascot. Liberty Mountain is now at 4-1. I tell you what, let's have a look at Alexis involved here. The pale blue, predominantly pale blue silks here, Freddie. And I mean, any race at Ascot is going to carry good form anyway, isn't it? Ascot has followed up very nicely from a tricky draw to get up to beat Lufu, who we think is named after an Australian YouTuber and gamer. Freddie's younger than me, so he'd know that stuff much better. And I think the 9 has got up to get third Rebel Angel on the outside of the 10. A couple of ones at big prices for the minor money.
Yeah, look, good solid performance by Alexis. Obviously the penny dropped at Ascot, got a lovely run first time up, and watch this, drawn 10, eventually came up to the front here and made the run in. George Rugg had to make plenty of use of her from that draw, but I mean, she had endless amounts of energy left in her locker here. Watch this. As soon as he squeezes her and asks her to lengthen a bit, she actually quickens and lengthens at the same time, and hits that line very, very hard. I thought it was a smart performance. Nothing could live up to her whatsoever. Much better on by Lufu, who obviously got well beaten last time out at Windsor. The penny never dropped with her, but that was a much, much better performance, and I think she's sure to win one of these soon.
Yeah, exactly. She's not going to bump into one as good as Alexis every time, you would hope, anyway, if you're the owners or connections of Lufu. But, yeah, it's a good performance, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure that Rebel Angel got up on the near side. There you go, just confirmed, got up for third spot. 1 beats 7 and 9. Alexis beats Lufu. Rebel Angel in third. 7-4 favourite, 11-2 and 28-1. You can see Pearly Gates didn't have a particularly happy day at the races. Is the one at the very top of the screen there. Neither did Ben Sanderson, but he's earned his fee there. To be fair, in the second on the card from Lingfield, the favourite goes in impressive fashion.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
When it comes to racing, control is the most important thing. And the same goes for betting. So if you feel that your gambling is getting out of hand, you can set limits and rein it in with tools from Coral.
At Eden, we've developed the art of living outside, inside, sheltered from the elements yet surrounded by nature. An Eden glass veranda is made to measure, precision engineered and so versatile. And right now, you can save 25%. With an Eden glass veranda, you can enjoy al fresco living by day and night. For a free, no-obligation survey, call Eden now on 0800 316 0114.
Do you know this feeling? Oh, no. You feel worse the second it cracks. So grab your phone, enter autoclass.co.uk and book your chip repair now. Easy. We come to you and in just 30 minutes your windscreen is strong again.
Wow, that's fast.
See? Feels much better. And it's guaranteed for life. So book online now.
Autoglass repair, Autoglass replace.
Every Cotswold company
we go through the likes of Star Start, who was beating some way in debut for Rebecca Menzies on about 22-1.
Yeah, beat just 2 home at Newcastle over 6 at the start of the month. He still looks quite unfurnished and looked like he would tighten up for another run as well. Devil's Kingdom was well beaten at Pontefract on his debut 5 or 6 weeks ago, and then Maureen's last 2 runs so far for Katie Scott actually finished behind C in the Dark at Haydock, and she'll qualify for a handicap mark. There she is after today's run.
There's no reason, I don't think, why Carl Burke's Clifford Lee-ridden Maha Lake won't be active right from the start.
No, you
last time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he certainly seems to be suited by those front-running tactics. As we know, this is a course, particularly over 7 furlongs, where there's not too long a run to that first bend, Gordon, where if you can get on the speed and perhaps just stack them up round the bend, you can be in position A1 turning in. I would expect him, providing he breaks on terms, to certainly be, if not on the speed, then very close to it.
Just a quick word on the grrr and the wind as well. You can probably see the bushes rustling in the background there. I'd call it slight, maybe half against the breeze here at Musselburgh, where the rain has passed through. It's pretty muggy, isn't it?
It is, and it's only a minimal breeze, isn't it? I don't think it would have, at the moment, any undue effect on the runners. But 2-year-olds, you never quite tell. But as you say, for a stable that won this last year, Carl Burke's, I think Mahalik, a repeat of that run at Carlisle, at Catholic last time, I should say, over this trip, makes him the one to beat.
Don't think there's too many left. Now, when I got here earlier today, there was this kind young gentleman on the gate of the car park, and he let me in. He opened the gate. Our commentator Derek Thompson, did you recognise that fella, Tomo?
Yes, I did. It was you. And I put my hand out expecting a big tip, and he just drove straight past me. Why does that not surprise me? Travaggio de Techo is going into stall 8 under Danny Tedhope, and the last to be put in will be Lord Sands Castle. Andrew Mullen riding for Ian Jardine. Good second, first time out at Haydock. If he can reproduce that, he'd certainly have a chance. So 9 runners. This is the British Stallion Studs European Breeders' Fund. Restricted maiden stakes. Over 7 furlongs. The start for this race towards the end of the back straight. Okay, just one more to be put in. The starting stall handler alongside Mahalik, but he's okay. So just waiting for Lord Sam's Castle. Andrew Mullen. That's it. They're all in. 9 runners. Stand by. We're ready. They're off. So here we go, over 7 furlongs, and let's see who's going to take them along in the early stages. The green colours of Macaulay, the blue and yellow of Sea in the Dark. Towards the left, Act of Will has a good position early. Then towards the outside in the black and white, Harry's Hero. Sorting themselves out at the end of the first furlong. And in the green colours, Mahalik towards the outside, towards the inside, Act of Will. In the tartan colours, Lord Sam's Castle disputes third place with Sea in the Dark on the inside in the blue and yellow chevrons. Then the black and white of Harry's Hero. Behind Harry's Hero comes Devil's Kingdom. Behind that one is Star Star. The 2 horses have run out, and 2 horses have taken out here. We've lost Mahalik and also Act of Will. Those 2 horses have run right out. They're okay, but that's left the others in contention. And Harry's Hero on the left. In the blue and yellow, we've got Sea in the Dark. Up on the outside, Lord Sam's Castle. Just behind these comes Devil's Kingdom. Then behind this is Star Star. So coming up the home straight, there's only 7 of them left, fighting it out in this British Stallion Studs European Breeders' Fund Stakes. And Harry's Hero, the Newmarket Raider, comes through to take it up. In the sheepskin noseband, Sea in the Dark. On the far side, also in a sheepskin noseband, Devil's Kingdom is coming with a late run. Also, Lord Sam's Castle is staying on down the middle of the track. But Harry's Hero, Shane Gray, has the lead, and it's a commanding lead. On the far side, Devil's Kingdom is staying on, but it's Harry's Hero. So Shane Gray and Alice Haynes are going to win this very comfortably indeed. Dramatic race. Devil's Kingdom second. In third, Star Star.
It was a dramatic race, wasn't it? Harry's Hero ends up, after the Yarmouth success, going into the winner's enclosure, beating Devil's Kingdom into second. I think it was Star Start in third. But the drama coming to the home turn, we'll see in a second as they come past the line. Well clear is Harry's Hero with Devil's Kingdom in second place. Star Start has finished in third place, and See in the Dark, one of those left in front by that incident, turning for home, has finished fourth. Active Will was in front and just hung left and didn't take the bend and took out Mahalik at the same time, the pair of them. Luckily, both horses and jockeys were unscathed. It could have been a nasty incident, that.
It could have been, and it changed the complexion of the race in a flash. Here we go. You can see Active Will, who's a little bit lit up, isn't he? Just a tight bend, but he's just hung away from there. Mahalik, absolutely no chance on his outside, carried out, and as you say, Gordon, it could well have been quite a nasty incident. With those railings there, I think horse and jockeys all both managed to stay on their feet, but their race was very much run at that point.
Yeah, and as you can see at the moment, back markers, Maureen's Lass out at the back, and some of them well out of the trouble. It left at this point, See in the Dark in front, being attended to closely on the inside by Harrow's Hero. The other one that's bang there at the moment, Lord Sam's Castle, who checks out shortly.
Yeah, a bit of a disappointing effort from him, and I don't think that perhaps helped See in the Dark, because I don't think she was particularly advantaged by being left out in front by Harry's Hero. Not unsupported today, Gordon. I think double-figure price last night, but looked professional here. Down into a much more winnable race compared to that Yarmouth novice that he made his debut in. But quite what he's had to or been left to beat is open to some debate, because Devil's Kingdom well beaten on his only run so far. Star Start, Penny seemed to drop for that one late on and ran on quite nicely, but he was well beaten on his debut. So ultimately it's been a race that I don't think's taken an awful lot of winning, particularly with Lord Sam's Castle seemingly not coming on for the gelding operation or the application of the headgear.
You can see at this moment, slowly away on debut, Trebejo Detecto out the back in the Nick Bradley Racing colours with a yellow cap. That's Katie Scott's Maureen's Lass. On the front end then, keep an eye on Active Will. He is racing just a shade keenly, being attended to this side, the green jacket of Mahalik, and this is where it starts to go horribly wrong.
It does, and through no fault of Clifford Lee here, because he was in the ideal position on the outside, and then you just can't predict anything like that, could you?
And that's a bank turn. You can imagine how sharp that was when it was level.
Absolutely. So just wrong, a case of what looked to be the right position, but ended up being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So that was two of the fancied runners out of the running by that stage. Trebejo Detecto on his debut was green in the parade ring, and he was never really clued up and going at all, as was Maureen's Lass. So it's been a race where it's ended up being a pretty thin one. You can see he just looks awkward, doesn't he? Lord Sam's Castle, yes, headgear on, yes, he's been gelded, yes, he was up to 7 firms, which should have suited him, given his run style and his pedigree, but I don't think he's looking the easiest of customers at the moment. And Harry's Hero, who looked pretty professional here, building on that debut effort, coming away to win pretty cosy. But as I say, the horses that have chased him home, two horses that showed very little on their first two starts, Lord Sam's Castle and See in the Dark, I don't think have gone backwards from what they have done so far, so it turned out to be a pretty weak contest.
This is another angle of that race, and you can just see how keen he is, and he just doesn't take the bend. Active Will under Jack Garrity, and completely wipes out Mahalik. They were heading for that rail at one stage, and it's good to see the horsemanship of both Jack Garrity and Clifford Lee, that they remain on board the horses and both managed to pull up safe, and I've seen them both come back in one piece as well. I just noticed Star Start there. Penny dropping late on. I think Rebecca Menzies will be delighted with that sub today.
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually a decent maiden that he ran in at Newcastle, won by Hougamon. He's certainly shown a bit more here. As I say, it's questionable what he's actually achieved in a race that I don't think has taken any real winning at all, Gordon. But certainly he still looks unfurnished. He's got more of a middle distance pedigree as well, so it may well be that he improves with it with time and experience.
Crossing the line then to win on his second start is Harry's Hero. Shane Gray on board for Alice Haynes. She's 2 from 2 here at Musselburgh. Both the runners have come this year. Both have come in 2-year-old contests. Devil's Kingdom finishes second. Star Start was in third place. I'm just confirming it was See in the Dark. It was 4.
Yeah, that one, say promise on that one's debut, but was in a decent enough position. Yeah. It maybe wasn't helped by the fact that she got left in front, but a little bit of a disappointing finishing effort from her. Back to the drawing board slightly, but Harry's Hero up against a couple of decent sorts on his debut at Yarmouth, clearly improved from it. Be interested to see how he goes on from here.
Harry's Hero then, Rachel, in the winners' enclosure after winning a very eventful first race here at Musselburgh. But the good news is that no damage done to horses or jockeys involved in that home straight incident.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank God, Gordon. And Harry's Heroes come away with the win. Another one, as Gordon was telling you, 2 from 2 for Alice Haynes now at Musselburgh. Shane Gray on board, 6-1. Devil's Kingdom for Donna McCain at a big prize, 25-1. And back in third, number 7 was Start at 22-1, 2.5 lengths the winning margin in the end. And that was the opening contest at Musselburgh. Now we're going to take you across to Catterick Bridge and just check in and find out what this situation is all about. Good news that Niall Hannity is all over it. So a lot of people out there inspecting. Niall, what's been happening?
I think it started with Jason Hart in a previous race. His horse slipped in more on one occasion. That was Whitecliffe of Charlie and Mark Johnson's, and a few other jockeys. Oceanor I spoke to after his success. He seemed fine, his horse, but few spades full of sands. Hopefully be alright.
Yeah, just trying to shore up the bend. So obviously the jockeys have had a look and taking no chances.
Yeah. That's Kevin Stott.
It's just one of those tricky ones where they've had a sharp shower, isn't it?
This morning.
Before racing.
Yeah. And there's one of the tractors that'll spike it. So they're live shots as we speak. Jason Hart on the right, Kevin Stott on the left, and Fiona even poking and prodding, and hopefully you can see where the tractor's already been over it with the spikes.
Yes.
And we're 7 furlongs here, and 2-year-old horses are our next race. It's due off. Well, it was due off a minute ago, so we're in for a pretty lengthy delay because these are live shots. So the time they go back, whatever they think down the track, they'll have to go in front of the stewards and come to some sort of agreement, whether they'll make real movements, etc. But you can see the tractor spiking it further and deeper.
Yeah, we'll try and have a word with a couple of the riders as they come back in. Runners for the 2 o'clock, what was meant to be, have gone back in, haven't they?
Yeah, they're not even in the pre-parade ring yet.
I think
so
a couple of them came into the parade ring and then they've gone back into the stables. So it's going to be a little while, isn't it, before we're back on the go here at Catterick? But hopefully
yes, that's the home bend. So see whether they're happy to, once they've spiked it and bits of sand on it. But it says whatever happens, it'll be another 5 minutes before they're all back in. Then they'll have to go in the steerage room and give their evidence or their thoughts and come together with an agreement.
Yeah, I mean, in these situations now, you can only be guided by the jockeys themselves who've got to go out there and have been out there and experienced the track. And obviously it's those guys that have voiced some concern, and those guys that have gone out to inspect the track with the clerk of the course and the ground staff. So we'll try and find out a little bit more, but it looks like they've obviously had a bit of a problem and they're trying to sort it out.
Okay, just going to run on for a few minutes yet. Yeah, they're going to make their way back in, so I'll head back down towards the weigh room. Rachel, relay any information we can gather.
Nice work, thanks guys, and we'll bring you any updates ASAP ahead of our 2 o'clock. Hopefully it will happen, but Niall's gone down to catch up with a few riders there, so we'll bring you more news on this situation at Catterick. Just to say that we have got a market, no horse even in the pre-parade ring yet. Tanzanite 2-1, Man Made of Smoke at 11-2, My Honey Bee at 6s, 7s for Stephanie Saga, Kamada 17-2 from 9s, and Frank Ross is out 11-1 from 16, so strong, and a bit of money for Star of Midnight as well. Nigel Tinkler's runner for the third race, which hopefully will be coming up soon.
Hard. We're suspending you for 2 days.
Hard.
Hard. Hard. Well, soft, but you know.
Hard. Hard! Oh, racing is hard. Betting on it shouldn't be. The UK's #1 betting app. Built for ease. Sky Bet. That's betting better.
Shane Gray then wins the first here at Musselburgh. It was an eventful race as well. Harry's Hero, the winner. Shane, what did you see of the incident turning for home?
Yeah, basically it was sort of on the hind push, turning in and out from a couple of horses. Before I knew it was upside in front. Yeah, so a bit bizarre really.
Yeah, both horses and jockeys okay, which is the main thing.
Yeah, just spoke to them now, so all good.
And talking about your horse, Harry's Hero, built on that, you know, the debut at Yarmouth.
Yeah, no, spoke to Alice earlier. She was quite confident with him that he improved loads from his first run. You know, he had the red hot on today. He was very well behaved, and I think he'll be okay.
And away from the incident, he has won quite well. What might have happened, who knows?
Of course, you never know when these things happen, but I felt like I won with plenty in hand, Gordon. You know, he got to the front, he wasn't doing a whole lot. He was looking for a bit of company. He'll come on for that mentally again first, and you know, he's a big horse. There's still a bit of improvement left in him.
Yeah. And Alice been here with two 2-year-olds now. This is the second, and they've both won, so you'll be looking for a ride in anything she sends up here as a juvenile.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be looking through the entries for her now.
Seem to be getting the toe in. What would you call the ground, Shane?
Fairly easy, soft ground to me, to be honest. It's quite loose, but no, it's soft ground.
And the pickier race to come?
This next one is my last one. The Dixie Bill, and the Keys. A couple of all-right runs, hopefully for a good one.
Yeah, listen, well done in the first. Good luck in the second.
Cheers, thank you.
Now, there's a situation at Catterick, and, well, they're still making a decision, and, well, they've put sand out. We saw that there was quite loose ground on top. We'll find out more with a few of the jockeys shortly, but still putting sand on there around the bends, and we haven't had any news as of yet. Jockeys waiting for a decision to be made, and of course the horse is not in the pre-parade ring as of yet ahead of our next at Catterick, so more news on that. In the meantime, let's whiz back to last week and the Sky Bet Ebor Festival with the verdict and Angus McNay.
Hello there everybody, welcome to this week's edition of The Verdict, which will major on the Sky Bet Ebor Festival from York. We'll pick one race from each of the days, Wednesday through to Saturday, and then we'll pick up another couple of races as well, one from Kempton Park and one from Salisbury as well. So lots to go at. As you might imagine, it was difficult to choose races from York. Such was the quality on display last week, but I hope that we've chosen ones that will be of interest to you throughout the course of the show. Let's start off with the best performance of the week, the best horse that we have seen for a very long time in Baid, who won the Juddmonte International. He was the 2-5 favourite, winning at 3.35. The winners at York on the day, Bergerac, Chaldine, Deauville, Legend took the Voltager. Alfred Butcher, who we'll talk about later on in the context of the Ebor Designer, and Streets of Gold as well. But it's Baid where we must start, and what a tremendous performance he put up to win the Juddmonte International. He was 2-5. Mischief, who won it last year, of course, was a 4-1 shot. 8-1 for Native Trail. Dubai Honour was 33s. High Definition 40s, and Sabusca the Outsider at 100-1. But it was all about Baid, this race, from stall number 6, beating Mischief from stall number 5. And third home was Sabusca, picking up the pieces from stall 1. This is what unfolded before our very eyes, and this was a world-class performance, make no mistake. Sabusca missed the break. High Definition went to the front under Ryan Moore, and it looked like he was going to set a pretty healthy gallop out in front, but he didn't really. It went quite steady for a Juddmonte International. The final time was nothing flash, and the finishing speed percentage of 107.02 tells us not only that Baid is very quick and he finished the race off really strongly, but they didn't go that hard in the early part of the race. And although it looks like Ryan is really putting his pedal to the metal, he's not. He's not going that hard out in front. And Baid's got a lovely draft in, just sat under Jim Crowley, cruising along. Mishrif, who's run a really big race here, he's in a prime position to strike first, and indeed he does, but he has got no chance with Baid, who essentially wins this race on the bridle. It is a superb performance, and comparisons with Frankel are entirely legitimate, I think. He posted a time form speed figure here of 135. When Frankel won this race in spectacular fashion, he posted 136, just a spot bigger. This horse is probably just as good as the mighty Frankel, although he doesn't seem to be getting the same sort of accolades that horse got, maybe because he hasn't won a classic. Now Jim Crowley eases him into contention, and he destroys the field with his speed. This race became a bit of a speed test because they didn't go hard, and the pace picked up at the 7th furlong, and Bayoud went 10.99 seconds without coming off the bridle. Really impressive, and his final 3 furlongs also impressive. 34.85. He sprinted home whilst Jim Crowley can look at the big screen, salute the crowd, and he's won as he liked. Now, just to tell you how fast he's come home, you need to look at what Mishrif did on the course track sectionals. And Mishrif sprinted really well between the 3 and the 2, and the 2 and the 1, and he really ran very hard. I think he's a horse who's bang back to his best, but his final furlong was 12.75. Mishrif was completely and utterly legless as Bayoud came past on the bridle. That's how good Bayoud is. He's put away a very good horse in Mishrif, and he's won as he liked. Now, as I said, the final time's not flash, not Bayoud's fault. That's a fault of the pace that was set out in front. And he's won just pushed out, hands and heels. Sabuska picking up pieces for 3rd place, the run of his life, and that's just what he wants, really. He wants to be dropped out and come late and pick up pieces. Ascot suits him. The straight course at Ascot is a place that really suits Sabuska, but nothing in this field could live with the mighty Bayoud, who was highlighted here on the verdict when he won his maiden. He won his maiden at Leicester, of course, and we suggested here on the verdict that he might be a Group 1 horse. We didn't suggest he'd be a multiple winning Group 1 horse. We thought he might be a Group 1 horse. The sectionals pointed to that, and the sectionals here tell us that he is a very, very speedy horse. We analysed him when he won at Goodwood, when he took the Sussex Stakes. That was a steadily run affair, and his sectionals were really, really rapid in the closing stages, and they were rapid here as well. Any horse that can go 10.99 while still on the bridle is a superstar, and this fella belongs in that bracket. Where next? Not for me to say. Up to connections, but plenty in the mix now, seemingly. Irish Champion Stakes, possibly the Arc, the Champion Stakes at Ascot as well. They are all in the mix, but I find it very hard to think that whatever race he goes for, even the Arc, that anything can beat this fella.
Hello there, welcome back, and good afternoon if you're joining us for the first time, and you might be wondering where the 2 o'clock at Catterick is. Well, that's the scene. It's not been run or won, and we're still waiting news. They've been putting sand out on all of the areas on that bend and a couple of the other turns as well. No other news to bring you. Work continuing to be done and probably decisions being made, and hopefully this meeting can carry on, and the track will be fit for racing. And as soon as we find out any more, we'll be over to Niall Hannessy shortly to find out some details. But other than that, I have no other news. We're going to Musselburgh and back to Gordon we go, alongside Ed Watson in the paddock ahead of race 2.
For a nursery handicap, Rachel, over 5 furlongs this time, and this is number 2, Don't Fight It, drawn to Ed. A possible pace angle. She was from the front end last time over course and distance in a race that's working out pretty well. The second's won twice. I think the 6th has won as well.
Yeah, that was a race won by Castan, beating Gem Cutter. Don't Fight It actually won over this trip at Catterick off a £4 lower mark. She has been beaten in 2 starts, as you say, since then, Gordon, but she's closely matched with How Exciting on the form through Gem Cutter. I do just wonder if the handicapper has her where he wants her, though.
Coming along now, alongside the spacious saddling boxes at Musselburgh, is number 1, Loopset Flossy Pop. Another potential pace angle, although in her case she can be quite free going.
Yeah, she can. She's certainly improved by dropping back in trip on her last 2 starts. Also her second and third starts. She was below form last time behind Little better over course of distance 4 weeks ago. She makes her handicap debut here off a mark of 64. I think that looks stiff enough, Gordon.
And number 3 at the top end of the paddock, just coming round now, wearing the red hood, is Heathcliff's Girl. She was beaten some way at Nottingham last time in a nursery. She's been dropped a few pounds since then.
Yeah, well beaten on all 3 starts in novice and maiden company, as you say, on their nursery debut at Nottingham, where she was unruly beforehand, and slowly away once again. She's down £3 for that, and she's got the first time cheek pieces on for the drop back to 5 furlongs here.
And the other one I want to see is number 6 coming down the grandstand side of the paddock, just nicely on her toes. How exciting. She's another one. I thought it was a really good effort on nursery debut at Beverley, from a wide draw as well, and again she was up there.
She showed plenty of speed there on that nursery debut. Got into handicaps off a mark of 56. I think that could prove quite lenient, Gordon. She's on a sharper track here, but I think she's got a leading chance if she can break on terms.
And you mentioned Little Betty for Ian Jardine and Andrew Mullen, the oldest of the field, a late January foal.
Yeah, she's yet to win in 5 starts here. Most of them have come here. She did finish ahead of Lopset Flossie Pot 2 runs ago, and she'll certainly find this company easier than when a distant last of 3 behind Looking for Linda, a new definition here 3 weeks ago.
There's a look then, Rachel, at the horses in the paddock ahead of this nursery handicap at Musselburgh as we drop back to the Flying 5.
Yes, and a sprint for this Ray Hawthorne nursery handicap. It is a Class 6, and number 6, how exciting, is the favourite at 2-1. Was 15 to 8, just ease it a wee bit. Don't Fight is at 9-4. Heathcliff's Girl at 7-2. And then it's Lupset Flossie Pop at 8-1. Little Betty at 14s, and Dixie Doodle Dragon at a big price at 18-1. Pink Stripes at 28-1. The big outsider, all 7 of them for this second race at Musselburgh. By the way, still awaiting news at Catterick, and hopefully we'll have an update soon for you, but no decision has been made as of yet. For now, though, we can enjoy Musselburgh, and back to Gordon for race 2.
So there you can see them heading down for our first race over 5 furlongs today for this nursery handicap. On the left there, that's Pink Stripes under Sam James. Lisa Williamson trained, and in front of Pink Stripes you can see there Don't Fight It, so they're just ambling their way down to the start. Now on Don't Fight It, Ed, this gives us a chance to look at that pretty solid piece of form over course and distance when Don't Fight It was in front for a long way, and as we've already alluded to, a couple of winners out the race, including the winner winning twice.
Yeah, that's Jem Cutter in the black and white colours, just tracking the speed. Don't Fight It was sharply out the gates, put the pace of the race, and at Musselburgh, as we know, Gordon, that's often the place to be. It was a solid effort, as you say. The form is working out reasonably well. I think it's the grey horse Georgiava, I think, on the wide outside, that's also come out of this and won since then. So a solid piece of form for the grade. This was two runs since that win. Yeah, both off a higher mark since that run at Catterick, and although the handicapper's just easier a pound here, I don't know if she's got too many secrets from the handicapper anymore. You can see, I think she's run a solid enough race, doesn't she, to finish 3rd here, but I do just wonder if the handicapper's got her where he wants to, and I think she might have to pull out a little bit more if she's going to win this. Quite where she's going to find that from, not easy to tell.
Callum Rodriguez then on board for Keith Dalglish on Don't Fight It, who comes off the back of that good 3rd over course and distance, and who was a winner on her nursery debut earlier on in the summer at Catterick. That was over 5 as well, wasn't it? It was on better ground though. It was on, there was no soft on that bit.
Yeah, it was, but she's certainly 5 furlongs seems to suit her better than 6. She has tried 6, hasn't she? But as we see there, she's quite a speedy filly, and no surprise that Keith Dalglish has been keen to get her back here to Musselburgh.
How exciting. We mentioned that good effort from the front on handicap debut from the wide draw at Beverley. She's come off a little bit better on the draw today from 5.
Yeah, certainly a lot better, and if she shows the speed out the gate that she did at Beverley, she's got every chance of getting onto that rail as well, Gordon. Wasn't helped, I think, by being bumped at the start from a wide draw at Beverley, but she did show bright speed. She was beaten soundly enough by Gem Cutter, but that horse has come out and won again since, as we just referenced, and I think going into nurseries, I think 56, I think she's got a little bit of scope from that mark. She was well beaten in her first 3 starts, admittedly, but you have to look at the horses that she was up against in those races, Gordon. The likes of Lady Hollywood, Lakota Blue, also Clear Point as well. So I think the move into nurseries, I think she might have got enough a fairly lenient mark, and although she should stay further than this, she showed enough speed, I thought, at Beverley to suggest that she could well open her account here.
And have I missed something in the conditions of this race? They're all fillies.
Yeah, odd, isn't it? I mean, the problems of lack of runners
not a fillies handicap
in nurseries is well known this year, but as you say, yes, 7 runners here, an open nursery, and yet we've got 7 fillies. So the question I asked you, Gordy,
where are all the boys?
Absolutely. This is what we were asking here at Ladies' Day, weren't we, 3 weeks ago?
Exactly. So that's number 6, How Exciting, one of a field comprising entirely of 2-year-old fillies, all 7 of them, down there at the start safely, and that includes Heathcliff Skirrels. You got that red head, that red hood on down at the start. That'll be coming off shortly. Cheek pieces on for the first time, Ed. You would be looking for a little bit in the step back in the right direction today, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you certainly would. A couple of things probably to point out. She was unruly last time when her jockey Danny Tudder went to get on her. She was pretty scatty, wasn't she? Danny wisely managed to get out of the way. She seems to have settled better now she's down at the start, but certainly she's also been slowly away on her start so far, and on a sharp 5 like this, she's going to have to jump on terms if she's going to have a chance here.
Still no news after they had that inspection at Catterick, incidentally. Still no news one way or another. As soon as we have any news at all from Catterick, I'm sure Niall will pass on all the very latest, and we'll either get it to you verbally or you'll see some sort of evidence sliding along at the bottom of your screen as they go behind for our second of the day here at Musselburgh. Looks at Flossie Pop, handicap debut today. She's making her debut in a nursery. 64, Ed?
Yeah, I don't think she's thrown in off that particular mark. A couple of decent efforts, second and third runs over 5, but I thought she was a little bit disappointing here last time when she finished a place behind Little Betty. That was the race won by Mia Side Diva. She carried ahead a bit awkwardly. I thought late on she weakened inside the final furlong. She'd hung left-handed at first the time before. I think she's perhaps still learning the game a little bit. I don't think she's the most straightforward at this stage. And as I say, 64 I don't think is any picnic here, Gordon.
So the loading process well underway then. Just the 7 of them. Not many left to load as we go back up to Derek.
Yeah, 3 more to be put in for this Ray Hawthorne nursery over the straight 5. And just waiting for one more by the look of it. Heathcliff's Girl to go into stall 4. Won't be too long. Last one just being put in. Heathcliff's Girl. 7 runners, 5 furlongs. Stand by. They're off in the Ray Hawthorne nursery. This is race 2, and a good start in the sheepskin noseband by Don't Fight It against the rails on the right. Little Betty and the light blue. How exciting! Up on the white outside in stripes, these pink stripes has come through now to virtually dispute at the end of the first furlong. Don't Fight It, sheepskin noseband. On the left is Pink Stripes. These two are stride for stride. The light blue colours of How Exciting. The yellow and purple of Dixie Doodle Dragon against the rails and the diamonds is Little Betty. And the blue and white check of Heathcliff's Girl. That's the order as they come down now with 2 furlongs left to run. And against the rails in the sheepskin noseband, Don't Fight It. In the maroon cap, it's Pink Stripes. In the light blue, How Exciting. Then the blue and white towards the left of Heathcliff's Girl. On the wide outside, looks at Flossie Pop is beginning to stay on as well. On the heels of the leaders, Dixie Doodle Dragon is looking for room. Plenty of chances. Furlong left to run. It is Don't Fight It. Don't Fight It, just the leader. Pink Stripes has come with a good run. Here comes Dixie Doodle Dragon. Dixie Doodle Dragon is coming from nowhere. Don't Fight It. Dixie Doodle Dragon. Photo! Has the dragon got up? Or did Don't Fight It hang on? That's one for the judge.
It is a photo finish called by our judge Fraser Perrott. This time it's Don't Fight It this side. The far side, Dixie Doodle Dragon. We'll maybe see evidence from the still. Through for third is Heathcliff's Girl. 4th went to How Exciting, Ed. I think that horse in shorts just got there from stall 7. Dixie Doodle Dragon. It's a quick fire double for Shane Gray.
Yeah, and either way, it's certainly a 1-2 here for Keith Dalgleish, but the evidence of that does suggest that Dixie Doodle Dragon dropping back from 6 furlongs
And results before to finish for first place, first number 5, Dixie Doodle
Being
Dragon.
called the winner, number 5. Confirming Don't Fight, it's finished in second place with Heathcliff's Girl in third. Fourth goes to How Exciting. A 12-1 winner there in Dixie Doodle Dragon, carrying the lady Watlass Racing colours for Keith Dalgleish. And just looking, look where she's come from. Look where she is at this stage, and she goes to the widest part up the centre.
She does. I think there's a race where they've probably gone hard enough out in front. I think to Don't Fight its credit, she stuck to her guns really well, but those that were in the rear early on, like Dixie Doodle Dragon and also the third horse home, Heathcliff's Girl, have come from some way back. The drop back to, I think, just a strongly run 5 furlongs has really suited Dixie Doodle Dragon, a daughter of Dragon Pulse. She's got plenty of speed in her pedigree.
Just as we pick up the full replay at Musselburgh, racing's been abandoned at Catterick. Racing has been called off after that inspection. More about that, no doubt, as the afternoon unfolds. We're looking at a replay of our second of the day at Musselburgh, where, going on the soft side, a nursery won by Dixie Doodle Dragon. Look where she's come from stall 7, so she's actually come from bang against the railhead. She's had to angle out, there's just no room, and Shane Grace had to take her widest of all.
Yeah, and you can mark up her performance as a result of that, Gordon, can't you? Because she was in a good position, she just found herself trapped behind, nowhere to go behind the Pink Stripes, who's fading back, and as you say, Shane Grace had to switch round to be able to get her run, and she's finished with a wet sail to pick up her stablemate right in the shadows of the post. Of the others, perhaps maybe a step up in trip will be on the cards for How Exciting. A slow start once again for Heathcliff's Girl, but she's come through for a well-beaten third, and looks at Flossie Pop came under pressure some way out, and as we say, thought the handicap mark might be a little bit on the tricky side. She at least should get a drop for this, for all that she was perhaps not in the best place for out wide.
This is what Jim Goldie would have been saying, riding for luck. She's not come widest of all, but she's had to wait on the gap coming, and she's got the gap in the end between Pink Stripes and the pace setting Don't Fight at the stable companion. And it's funny, once she got to the front, albeit by a narrow margin, you got the impression Don't Fight it sort of saw her and went again.
Yeah, I think she stuck to her guns really well there, Gordon, suggesting that perhaps this mark is still within range, but certainly the drop back to 5, a good pace to aim at. Even though she had to wait for a gap, she's got there in time. I think this is perhaps, although a low-grade kind of nursery, this is perhaps Dixie Doodle Dragon's ideal scenario.
So that was Keith Dalglish's brother there. You can see him, that's Kevin there. Shane Gray completes a double in the first 2 races here, Rachel, and this time the winner, number 5, Dixie Doodle Dragon.
Dixie Doodle Dragon, indeed, and she's come from a long way back in the field. She travelled really well into it, though, and not expected for Keith Dalglish in terms of the market, but 12-1, a double for Shane Gray, and it's a 1-2 for the team. 2-1 the favourite, Don't Fight It, beaten narrowly in the end. So that was the story for the 2:20, the Ray Hawthorne Nursery Handicap at Musselburgh. And you can already see that racing in Catterick has been abandoned due to unsafe ground, which is a great shame. We've only had 2 races, but following our second race, the jockeys did report that they actually had a bit of an issue with that bend, slipping on the bend, and the decision has been made. We saw all of the officials out on the track alongside plenty of the jockeys as well, and the decision has been made to abandon racing, and that is due to unsafe conditions. It's a great shame for everyone at Catterick. And with no more news on this, let's rejoin Niall. What's the story? He's alongside Martin.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. Yeah, but went to the weigh-in room. You saw the jockeys out on track. Jason Hart, Russell Ryan, Ollie Stammers, I think Sean Cran, 4 of them reported that their horses all individually slipped, but you saw the scenes that they're trying to do remedial work, but whatever, it's a lengthy meeting in the steerage room, and at the end of it's been called off. That's it.
Look, no doubt we'll find out more as time goes on, and there's a full report that will be published about exactly what's gone on. Ultimately, the safety of the horses and the jockeys has to come first, and if that's in any doubt at all, then it's got to be the right decision to make. It's certainly not the first time this year that we've had this situation. it's not ideal for people, it's not ideal for owners, trainers that have brought the horses, paid the fuel, all their entry fees, and all the people that have turned up for Ladies' Day as well. So, you know, it's not what anybody would wish for, but ultimately the safety of the horses and the participants has got to be the main thing, and there's obviously doubt about that, and as such we're in the position we're in.
I did ask her maybe if she'd come out, and if she does, we'll try and endeavour to get a word with her straight away. But yeah, that was basically, there's a lot of them. Barry McPhee went in, Kevin Stott went in, a couple of jockeys who hadn't rode around the bend, but I think it was 4 individual jockeys said that their horses all had slipped. So.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a bit of a body of evidence there, you know, from more than one that suggests that they're not happy to do it. And as I say, safety comes first, doesn't it, in these situations, and it's got to.
Canary Stream won the first.
Yeah.
Turner's Girl won the
Short
second.
Wrap. Yeah.
That's it done.
That's it done. Well handicapped winner of the second race anyway, Turner's Girl. I think she'll be a filly that can go on again and win more races, but not much to report otherwise. Me and you will have to race around the paddock instead for the.
No, I'll get the skates. I'm going to race back. I'll be back for the next month. Rachel, all yours from everyone at Catterick. See you soon.
Wow, thanks so much to Martin and to Niall, and just disappointed for the venue more than anything. It's Ladies' Day. You can hear the music still blaring out there in the background, but unfortunately they will not have any more horse racing to enjoy at the track due to unsafe ground. The decision has been made by the jockeys, the stewards, all the officials to abandon racing at Catterick after only 2 races there today, which is a great pity. Right, we've got a little bit of time on our hands before we get to Musselburgh, so let's catch up with Angus once again. More on the verdict.
Here's the winners from the York Ebor Festival on Thursday. Swing Along taking the opener. Bit of a shock at 25s. Should have been a ring, was well back for the Richard Hannon team. 5-2 favourite. Blue for You. Favourite who came from off the pace in a strongly run affair at 3 o'clock. Alpinista took the Yorkshire Oaks. Haskell at 13-2 was given a brilliant ride by Ryan Moore to win the 4:10. Kaima at 8-1 took the 4:45. And the winner for Harry Dunlop, A Day in Asia, winning at 11-1. But the feature event was the Yorkshire Oaks, and Alpinista was the winner, and she was the 7-4 favourite. Tuesday was 7-2. La Petite Coco was 4-1, 8-1 Magical Lagoon, and Raclette 10-1, 12s and bigger the bottom 2. But it was Alpinista who prevailed in the Yorkshire Oaks for Sir Mark Prescott, Kirsten Rousing and Luke Morris. This is how it unfolded. Now, I'm going to be a bit lukewarm on this particular contest, not because I don't like Alpinista, not because I don't like Tuesday. I'm simply analysing what went on out there, and I think they're both better than they showed here, because this was a bit of a crawl and sprint race according to the numbers. That doesn't mean I'm denigrating the form, it doesn't mean that I'm not keen on the first and second home. It just means that the numbers tell us it was steadily run. The finishing speed percentage was 110.94. Remember, this is over a mile and a half. So what it's telling us is that Alpinista finished off the race 10.94% quicker in the final 3 furlongs than she ran the rest of the race. It was really, really steady out there. Magical Lagoon taking them along in the white cap, La Petite Coco towards the outside for Paddy Toomey, and Alpinista just tracking the pace with Tuesday tracking. And this very much turned into a sprint. I think it very much played against Tuesday. I don't think the Irish Derby showed her in her best light, and I don't think this race did either, and she's very much a horse to keep on side. For what she wants is a strong gallop, and when she gets one, I think we will see a much better product than we saw here. But Alpinista beat her here because of her guts, her toughness, and she's got a fair amount of speed as well. She has to have, given the nature of this race. Steadily run, turns into a bit of a sprint, and she's come home pretty strongly. Her final 3 furlongs, 34.2 seconds. Tuesday was a shade quicker at 34.18, but Alpinista's got a length on her when that sprint starts, and that's why Alpinista finished ahead of her. Alpinista goes now to chase La Petite Coco. This is where the sprint starts, and she's got a length on Tuesday, and Tuesday cannot drag her back, and Alpinista quickens up in great style to win this pretty well under Luke Morris. Tuesday. Now he's beginning to rally. Le Petit Coco, boy, did she want a stronger gallop. They tried to force it turning for home on her, but it wasn't strong enough gallop for her, and there's more to come for Paddy Toomey's filly, you would have thought. But once Alpinista's got to the front, she's not for catching, and I'm not surprised, given the nature of the race and that she was the first to come home. 9 furlong for Alpinista, 10.59 seconds. That's really quick for a 1.5 mile horse. They don't often produce that sort of sectional in a strongly run race, but it wasn't strongly run. She'd saved loads of petrol, and she was able to sprint through the 9th furlong, and that gave her a bit of an advantage on Tuesday. He was trying to close down all the way to the line, but the way the race was run, she had an impossible task, and she's not to be written off. Magical Lagoon sticking to her guns out in behind, and also the same can be said for some of the others, but it's Alpinista who has now landed 5 Grade 1s on the bounce. She is an admirable, tough and consistent and game and talented mare, and the Arc is probably next for her. She's round about a 6-to-1 shot generally for the Arc, and that's probably where they will go straight off the bat. Probably no Prix-Vermeil, Sir Mark was saying, possibly straight to the Arc de Triomphe, and it should suit her. A bit of cut in the ground, a strong test at 1.5 miles, and her guts will take her a long way in that race, for she is very game and she is very tough as well. Don't write off Tuesday going forward though. Things haven't panned out for her in the last couple of starts. It didn't pan out here, that's for sure. She's done by Alpinista, but she's definitely a horse to remain interested in going forward. Here are the winners from Friday at the York Ebor Festival. Farhan taking the open at 20s. Quickthorn 9-4 winner at 2.25 in the absence, of course, of Trushan and Stradivarius. Noble Style 3-1. Highfield Princess taking the feature. The Nunthorpe at 5-1. State Occasion was a 3-1 winner of the 4.10. Desert Order odds on to win the 4.45. And Point Liners narrowly getting up to win the last at 25-1. So let's have a look at the feature then. The Coolmore Wooden Basset Nunthorpe Stakes. Group 1, 5 furlongs. Royal Acclaim the favourite, 5-2. Platinum Queen, a drifter in the market, 9-2 from 7-2. Highfield Princess, 5-1. 9-1 Condemn, Floaters 10s, 12s, and bigger the rest. And of course, it was Highfield Princess who prevailed. And she jumped out of stall 14. And she has got the better of the Platinum Queen. And in third place, Emiratiana, all drawn high here. So you needed to be high by the looks of things. They did drift across to the far side, but high draws were probably favoured somewhat. 14 beats 13 beats 11, and with that in mind, look at where the favourite is, Royal Acclaim, right down this side, whereas the first, second and third, here they are, 1, 2, 3. They're all this side, they're all towards the stand side. I think Royal Acclaim was disadvantaged in where she raced, and she got no cover either, and perhaps this run should be written off. In fact, she ran pretty well, all in all, for the James Tate team, but I certainly wouldn't write her off on the back of what happened here. But this was a domineering performance from Highfield Princess. Boy, is she good. She won the Jacques Le Marois last time up. She's won over 6 furlongs, she's won over 7 furlongs, and in 2020 she won off a mark of 58 in a handicap. The progression she has made is absolutely remarkable, and she's landed a Group 1 here over 5 furlongs in scintillating fashion. A fast final time, the final time 57.18. They were flying out there on fast ground. She's come home strongly with a final 3 furlongs of 33.27. Her 5th furlong, the best of the race, 11.96 seconds, and she's totally in control of this field of fast horses. There's some really good horses in here, Group 1 winners like Emiratiana, and she's absolutely destroyed them. She's run on really strongly. She's got to the Platinum Queen, who's run great. She hung a little bit left in the closing stages, but the winner has quickened up in really good fashion. She was the only horse to dip under 12 seconds in the final furlong, so if you think Emiratiana is finishing strongly, and she looks like she is, well, she's still not going as fast. He's still not going as fast as the winner, Highfield Princess, the only horse to go under 12 for that final furlong. Of the others, well, I think Emiratiana is slowly coming back to form. I think he was put on the back foot going to Meydan for a couple of runs at the beginning of the year, and he's gradually finding his form, and I think he could be a real force when it comes to Haydock and the Sprint Cup there. I think he's really finding his feet now. He could be hard to beat going back there. Russell was too keen. He was ridden quite prominently. He's normally sort of given a bit of a chance in his races. He was ridden prominently. He was too keen and couldn't get involved. But this mare in Shot is a real credit to the John Quinn yard. She really is. She's got better and better and better with racing. She thrives on her work, and she has annihilated a very good Nunthorpe field in a fast time. It's form to be believed. Remember, however, the draw did play a part.
Welcome back to Racing TV on this Wednesday. Now, we're looking forward to Musselburgh next, the 250. Sadly, if you've been waiting around wondering what's happening at Catterick, the bad news did come through that they did have to abandon the remainder of the meeting. Following on from 2 races, jockey reported their horses slipping on the bend, and as a result, due to the conditions, unsafe conditions, the stewards, jockeys and all of the officials there made the decision to abandon racing at Catterick, which is, as I said already, a real shame. We're going to crack on. We're going to Scotland, and we're going back to Gordon Brown for winning reaction from our previous race.
Dixie Doodle Dragon, a second winner of the afternoon for Shane Gray, and that's you done for the day. 2 rides, 2 winners, Shane. Well done.
Yeah, happy out.
Talk us through the race, because I could see you angling for a bit of room.
Yeah, listen, we jumped, but I didn't think we went flat out with a sensible gallop, and you know, drawn in the rail, sort of had to take my medicine and sit and suffer for a bit. And fairness, now when the gap came, she didn't really pick up well and did it cosily in the end.
You know her quite well, don't you? You've ridden her a few times before today.
Yeah, no, listen, she's not very big, but she tries very hard, and that's half the battle.
Yeah. And looking at her page, her pedigree, I think this is her an out-and-out 5 furlong horse.
Yeah, like I said, you see there, the sharp 5 here, Gordon, she travelled very strongly with me, so for now I think 5 furlongs a trip, definitely.
Couldn't believe when I looked at it, it's a nursery for 2-year-olds, and they're all fillies. Where were the boys in the race?
I don't know.
What's the difference then? You've ridden a winner on the round course, you've ridden a winner on the straight course. Any difference in the ground?
No, I think it's pretty consistent all around. It's just easy ground. So it was obviously fresh ground there. I don't know what it'd be a fair out later on when horses are galloping into it, opening up a little bit, but for now it's just nice loose ground.
Yeah, well done, good day.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah, well done to him, Shane Gray. 2 rides, 2 winners. He's gone home a happy man. Right, we're on to our 3rd race once again. Got a sprint to look forward to, and betting is through for the Zands Platinum Jubilee Handicap. And Canary Prince is the 11-4 favourite ahead of Tanasok and Mrs. Bajaran at 4-1. Primo 15-2. Abel Andy 8-1. Kurapik at 9s, Benito Cavallo at 14-1 with Paco Pash at 18-1. But it's Canary Prince, the 11-4 favourite, and there he is, the winner last time out, Gordon, and a big player again, you would think.
I think a big player from stall 7, Rachel, and a horse that made all the running last time, Ed, so he's got the penalty to shoulder today.
He does. He's just £4 higher under that penalty as a result, but he's been in really good form since he broke his duck at Beverley 6 weeks ago, and he showed all of that trademark speed from the gate to bag the rail and make all the running here, beating 6-core and Impressor over the course of this 7 days ago. Drawn in stall 7 with a couple of hold-up horses behind, every chance he'll get on the rail again.
There are a couple of 3-year-olds in the race, number 4 Benito Cavallo and number 5 Primo. Number 5 Primo is the one we want to see. He came from off the pace to finish 2 lengths into second place at Wolverhampton over 6 head, dropping back to the minimum trip.
Yeah, he's still £6 higher than for his sole win so far, which came at Beverley in May, but a couple of decent runs back on the all-weather of late at Wolverhampton. 1 over 5, 1 over 6. He's got to bring that back to turf here on easier ground.
He's got his name etched in his hindquarters as well. I don't know if you can see it. Primo on the back of number 5 there, who's been followed round Ed by number 4 Benito Cavallo. I think the last run was one of his best, only 3 runs so far, and that was his better effort last time with finishing 4th at Ayr.
Yeah, 3 quick runs this summer. That 4th to Gentle Ellen, the best so far. He was in the van all the way. Still looks to be learning the job, but he makes his handicap debut here off a mark of 59. Interestingly, dropped back to 5 furlongs. He's from a sprinting family that Jim Goldie knows well. He's a full brother to the likes of Sound of Iona, Rory, and all Oriental Lily, all sprint winners.
And he is heading down to post shortly. He'll be dropped up with Cam Hardy on board, and he is having his handicap debut here this afternoon. I'm just looking around for one or two others. I think he could be one of the last out, so every horse that was in the paddock is now heading down to the start, Rachel, and the ones that we missed, we'll catch them down at the end of the 5 furlong shoot.
OK, grand job, and we will see those horses in a tick. For now, though, quick update on the market. Canary Prince at 3-1 for Tim Easterby and Phil Dennis. Tanasock at 100-30 next in for Jim Goldie, and Paul Morenin has got course and distance winning form in the past. Mrs. Bagaran at 4-1 solid, 15-2 for Abel Andy. Primo price the same, and then it's a Kuro pick at 9-1. Benito Cavallo at 14-1, and Paco Pash 18-1, making a real dash down to the start.
Yeah, that is them heading down, some of them on the stand side rail going down, and we can see one of them taking a real pull for Paul Lemieux. That's the bottom horse, Paco Pash, she's going to be drawn right beside that rail she's at now. She had form in the race that was won by the non-runner, Aconcaglia Mountain, who's the non-runner. He was a winner at Redcar last time, and I think Paco Pash was one of several in the race that finished behind him that day.
Yeah, that's 4 runners that day from in that race that come here. As you say, Aconcaglia Mountain is out, but Mrs. Bagaran was the horse that came out best of all that day. She was only beaten 2 noses, Mrs. Bagaran, and I would expect her to confirm the form with both Paco Pash and Coro pick here. Let's touch on Mrs. Bagaran, shall we, Gordon, because she's a 17-race maiden.
Yep.
But she was, as I say, really unlucky at Red, because she was beaten 2 noses. Then a decent run last time, I thought, at Catterick, where she was beaten by Hot Scoop, again over 5 furlongs, ran a really sound race once more. I think 5 furlongs, decent-ish ground, sharp tracks really seem to suit her, but she's perhaps not ideally drawn in stall 2 here.
So down at the start, what others do we need to look at? Well, one that we didn't see in the paddock, and I know you were keen to see him, the old fella, Tanasock. What more can you say about those? I mean, some of the achievements he's done in the past, he picked this lot up and carried them.
Absolutely, he was a former Epsom Dash winner in his prime. His last win, I think he actually beat El Astronauti here in a conditions race. So
he's won off 90 in the past.
Yeah, he's a very fine sprinter in his prime. He hasn't won for quite some time, as we said, but
18 months.
He's shown some decent enough form on occasions. He's been narrowly beaten by the likes of Rory and Six Core earlier this summer. He's not been at quite that form of late, but if he could get back to one of those 2 runs, he's got to have a chance here, dropping into 0-55 grade for the first time. He'll certainly find this company easier than his last run, wasn't he, when he was last of 4 behind his stablemate Primo's Comet in a 0-80 here, and he's been well back like a big runs in the offing as well.
Yeah. Did we mention Mrs. Bagaran?
Yeah, we just spoke about her there. Yeah, she
was one of 2 that went to post.
Yeah,
Cora Pick was the other.
That were in and out the paddock with the blink of an eye. I know they're sprinters, but they were in and gone before you could even get a look at them. But yeah, she's gone away down there. It's quite a competitive little race for a fairly modest handicap, I have to say, Gordon. But Canaria Prince has to be the horse that's going to take most of the beating here, you would have thought.
Yeah.
In good form since that win at Beverley. A really good performance off the front end here the last time. He was actually due to go down a pound before that, so he has got a pound here, but it means he's only £4 higher, and I think significantly he's got a good draw in stall 7 as well. As we mentioned in the paddock pieces, he's got 2 hold-up performers inside him as well, so if he breaks with that trademark verve, he should be able to get on the rail, and although he is slightly high in the weight after that, should make him hard to peg back.
He's had a good season already, because as well as winning here, what was it, exactly a week ago, he won at Beverley, didn't he, in July?
He did, and that was on slightly slower ground than he ran on here last week, so there's a slight question mark about good to soft ground, but I think he'll handle it all right, and he's been a bit of a slow burn, isn't he? But he's making up into a pretty consistent sprinter, of course, out of that mare we remember so well in these parts, Gran Canaria Queen.
Carrying the colours of the Senators with Phil Dennis on board for Tim Easterby. He made all the running here last week, and as Ed said, he's got that £5 penalty. He won quite closely, I thought, by the end. I think it was 3/4 of a length, but yeah, I think he was value for more.
Yeah, he was. He had matters well in hand. I think 6 quite impressive. Both horses that have been in good form of late, so that has a fairly solid look to it. And I think also significantly, Gordon, he drops in grade here as well, doesn't he? Although he's slightly high in the weights, he's actually down in grade, so he's got every chance of winning his 3rd race of the year this afternoon.
One that we didn't see in the paddock, we see a fair few of his runners here at Musselburgh, and he's got one later on as well. Able Handy for Liam Bailey and Danny Tuttle. Maybe not the best draws for a prominent racer, but back on a very workable mark. He definitely hasn't won for a couple of years, Ed.
Yeah, it did come on good to soft ground off a mark of 84, so that shows you how far he's fallen. He's been dropped another £3 since his most recent run at Catterick at the start of the month. But yeah, I just haven't seen anything of him in his 4 runs this year, Gordon, to suggest that he's going to be capable of taking advantage of, you say, what could be a very lenient mark in the short term. He looks on pretty good terms with himself. He's got the headgear on as well, hasn't he? But he's going to have to leave what he's shown recently well behind.
His last win came off 84 at Ripon in September 2020. That was his days with David O'Mara. And he has since changed hands at Newmarket Autumn Sales in 2020 for 16,000 guineas. One that we did see in the paddock, having his first run in handicap company this afternoon, one of 2 3-year-olds in the race, had number 4, Benito Cavallo, off a mark of 55.
Yeah, handicap debut here. 1 or 2 Jim Goldie runners here. He's a fine big horse, isn't he? We've seen him in the flesh. He's got plenty of strength about him. Really intriguing runner here, I thought, off a mark of 55. Related to winning sprinters for this yard. Jim Goldie knows all about this particular family. But I was surprised to see absolutely no support from him. You can see now he's the 16-1 rank outsider of the field, Gordon. If he was likely to be, if he was fancied to be making a really bold shot his handicap debut, you'd have thought it'd been a lot shorter than 16-1.
And the loading process well underway. Canaria Prince there is the all-the-way scorer here over course and distance 7 days ago. Not too many left to load as we go back up to Tomo for race 3.
Yeah, we got 4 in. This is Mrs. Bagaran going into stall 2 under Dale Swift for Tracy Waggett. 3 to go for the Zen's Platinum Jubilee Handicap over the straight 5. Here in the green and white with the sheepskin noseman Primo, Johnny Pete about to go into stall 6. In the purple and yellow spots, Benito Cavallo, Cam Hardy about to go into 6. And in the yellow with the cross belts, Abel Handy about to go into 3. These will be the last ones to be put in for this straight 5 furlong dash. Confirming if you just tuned in, the non-runner is number 6. Here in the purple and yellow, Benito Cavallo. Horse who went to post early was Paco Pash. Went very quick indeed. Hope it didn't use up too much energy. Last one going in. Okay, stand by. We're ready for the Zen's Platinum Jubilee Handicap. Just waiting for Abel Handy to go into stall 3. Stand by. They're off. Here we go over the straight 5 furlongs and a pretty good level break. Abel Handy, last one in, his first one out in the yellow colours. Towards the right in the red colours, Canaria Prince. Against the rails, Paco Pash. Towards the left in the blue and white is Mrs. Bagaran. Then behind these in the black stripes is Coro Pick. In the black and white stripes is Tanner Sock against the rails. Then comes Primo, and the one who's a bit outpaced at the moment is Benito Cavallo. So let's see what happens as they come towards the halfway stage in the Zen's Platinum Jubilee Handicap. And let's see who's leading. In the red colours, towards the right, Canaria Prince. Then in the yellow with the blue cap, that's Abel Handy. Blue and white colours, Mrs. Bagaran. On the wide outside, Primo is now coming with a good-looking run. Trying to get through is Coro Pick. Here they come down towards the final furlong. And it's still Canaria Prince who has the lead, stand side. Now in second place, Coro Pick has got running room and is beginning to stay on. Down towards the last half furlong. On the rails, it is Canaria Prince. On the far side, Coro Pick. These two settle down to battle it out. It's going to be close. It could be Canario Prince in a photo with Coro Pick. That is one for the judge. It looked like Tennisok was staying on to be third.
It is a photo finish, but I think Canaria Prince has backed up that course and distance success under the penalty. Jason Hart did the steering a week ago. It's Phil Dennis in the plate. Coro Pick involved in that picture for second place. I don't think there's any doubt here. It looks like a good head, doesn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Through for third, Tanasok. Through for fourth, Benito Cavallo. who was behind and going nowhere at halfway, has taken 4th place.
Yeah, positives from that particular horse, but Canaria Prince winning again for the 3rd time this season. I thought he was there for the taking, didn't you, Gordon?
Yeah.
About a furlong, about half a furlong out. It's maybe he's got the verdict here. It's maybe to his advantage. He was up against a serial loser in Koropic, who hasn't won since that Group 3 success. I think the Chip Chase Stakes back in
July 17.
So I thought he was going to have his day in the sun here, but Canaria Prince has just held on.
There's quite a lot happened in the race. You can see there eventually ending up isolated up the centre of the track, Primo, and probably finishes about 6th in the end. From the start, Mrs. Bagaran, we'll see from stall 2, goes to her right, but quickly on the speed in the red jacket from stall 7 is Canaria Prince for Phil Dennis. Been attended to by Paco Cash in the inside. Then we can see that blue cap of Abel Handy. On the outside is Mrs. Bagaran, who's recovered from that tardy start. And just look where at the moment Tanasok is, Ed, compared to where he mounts his final thrust.
Yeah, I think as we run this through, I think you'll find that Paul Morenon was waiting for a gap. It didn't come, and he had to switch out. Whether he was unlucky loser, I have my doubts, Gordon. You can see his stablemate all at sea behind earlier on, Benito Cavallo. Watch how much ground he makes up, suggesting that he does have a future either this trip or perhaps 6. But he's a fine big horse who should fit into his frame, and there will be races to be won with him. By this stage, Canaria Prince was burnt off Paco Pash. I thought Koropic was going to come through and pick him up here. It just looked like he was wilting in front, but he's perhaps gone again, Canaria Prince, once he's challenged by Koropic. There's Tanasok, beaten just over length, and Benito Cavallo's made some good late ground. Be interested to see him on a stiffer track over this trip next time, because certainly he comes from a family that has got 5 furlong winners all the way through it.
Yeah, been strongly ridden out the back by Cam Hardy, one of 2 3-year-olds in the race. Benito Cavallo's fought those yellow sleeves and absolutely flies home in the closing stages. Kind of hanging into the centre of the track, Primo, who was struggling from an early stage and ends up isolated up the centre. And you can see in the moment, there's a proper eye catcher, I think, in Benito Cavallo, finishing in 4th off this opening handicap mark of 55. But Canaria Prince, like last time, didn't win by far. I think he's a horse that, goes again when he gets challenged.
Yeah, he certainly seems to there. He'll appreciate getting back on a sounder surface as well, I would have thought, Gordon. But off a mark of 56, he's still very much at the right end of the handicap. He's taken a while to get going, but he's proven really consistent now, isn't he? He knows how to get the job done as well, and he's just the kind of sort of handicap sprinter that Tim Easterby absolutely thrives with, and at this kind of level, having that winning habit counts for an awful lot, and that's perhaps maybe the difference between the winner and the second at this level.
And good to see, even at Class 6 level, Tanasok still doing his best, and he finishes in 3rd place. So it was a pretty clear-cut photo there. Canaria Prince winning there, Rachel, and backing up that recent course and distance success, again from the front, from the Senators. Phil Dennis on board this time for Tim Easterby.
Yes, and added to the course and distance success from just a week ago, 3-1, the favourite for Phil Dennis, Tim Easterby and the Senators. Well done to them all. In second, Koropic at 10-1, and in 3rd place, Tanasok at 7-2, and neck the winning margin. It was tight. A couple of close finishes already today, and the winning time there, 102.86, 5:46 above the standard. So action continues at Musselburgh. If you missed the news earlier, Cashrick has been abandoned following their 2nd race before the 3rd race there. So sadly, due to unsafe conditions at Cashrick, no racing there. We'll have Musselburgh just around the corner coming up. We'll be looking forward to their next at 3:20. But for now, more from Angus and more on the verdict.
Let's have a look at the winners at the York Ebor Festival on Saturday. And the 150, Alfela was the winner for Owen Barron's Jim Crowley on board. Solcombe took the Melrose in a very fast time, 3-1 favourite. Kinross, a good winner for Race Beckett, 5-1. Chorleyman won the Ebor at 9-1. Frankie Dettori and John Thady Gosden. So again won the new sprint for the David O'Mara team, 15-2. Treasure Trove, a Paddy Toomey winner at 4-1. And Phantom Flight took the final race on the card, the 3-1 joint favourite. Let's have a look at the Ebor then. Chorleyman, 9-1 shot. Garcia went off favourite, very well backed actually, just in the hours before the race for the William Haggas team, 4-1. Earl of Tyrone for Paddy Toomey, 5-1. Candleford, 7-1. Alfred Boucher, who'd won earlier in the week, was an 8-1 shot for Ian Williams. Trawlerman, 9-1. Backed him from 12s. Yukon Glen, 12s and 14s, and bigger the rest. And it was Trawlerman who prevailed under a really good ride from Frankie Dettori, I think it would be fair to say. He came out of stall number 20. So he's right over there towards the far side, and he's got the better of Alfred Boucher, the grey horse, who came from stall number 9, Earl of Tyrone, who was right next door in stall 8, and the fourth home was John Leaper, who's gradually finding his feet, I think, John Leaper now, and he was back in 4th place. And this was a notable race for the ride that Trawlerman got for. Frankie decided to plough his own furrow, go the Golden Horton, Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, and stay wide and gradually angle across. Now, why did these tactics work? Was it a stroke of genius from Dettori? What was it all about? Well, it was a good ride, it was a sensible thing to do, but he was aided by the fact that they didn't go a good gallop. They went very steady indeed, so he didn't have to use up a lot of petrol out wide before angling across. It's not like he has to go really hard and sprint down the outside of the field and then cut across, ensuring that he's ahead of them. He just could go a pedestrian gallop. That's what the sectionals tell us. And then he was able to just gradually angle across and get himself to the front of affairs. And those horses that finished 1, 2, 3, Trawlerman, Alfred Boucher, Earl of Tyrone, were always he's not had to use up any petrol in doing that. He's done the right thing. It could have failed. It might not have worked if they'd gone hard towards his inside, and then he'd never got across. Then he'd have ended up 4 or 5 wide, but he's got across cheaply. Simple. Let's look at the principles at this point of the race. Here he is, Frankie. There's the winner. Alfred Boucher's the grey horse. There's Earl of Tyrone. So I would suggest that you wanted to be prominent in what was, according to the numbers, quite a steadily run affair. The finishing speed percentage was well over 100. I think it was about 107. They'll come home 7% stronger in the final part of the race than they ran the early part of it. So it was quite a steadily run Ebor. Normally you get a really strongly run race, but this was quite steady. And I think you mark up Alfred Boucher for what he did, because we'll see later on that he throws down a massive challenge, but he's a bit too far back. Here's the first, he's second, and here's the third. You really had to be handy. For example, Yukon Glen's run an absolute blinder. Here he is. He's normally held up. He finishes off to good effect, Yukon Glen, but he's never going to get involved off the fractions that they've gone here. Steadily run affair. Now you can compare this race with the Melrose over the same trip. Solcombe dipped under the racing post standard in winning, nearly 3 seconds quicker through the Melrose than they ran here in the Ebor. Now the sprint is on, and it's a very interesting finish. For at this point you would think that Earl of Tyrone is all over Trawlerman. Going very strongly as John Leaper throws a challenge up against the rail in the yellow cap. Earl of Tyrone going best. Here comes the grey, Alfred Boucher, to throw down a big challenge. And this is a massive effort from this horse, having won earlier in the week. But Trawlerman just keeps finding. And he's been transformed a little bit, this horse, since a hood has been put on. Since the hood's gone on, he really has turned his form around. He won last time, and now he's won again with the hood on. 2 from 2 wearing that hood. For all money, Alfred Boucher's won, but Trawlerman rallies and he finds a bit more, and he just gets up to deny the grey in the closing stages. What about the rest of them? We know what happened to the first 3. They were always prominent. They had a good tussle, but Get Shirty is the one that we need to keep an eye on. This horse finished off really strongly. We'll give him a sectional upgrade. He ran on very well in the closing stages, having been held up throughout the race. You can see him widest of all here, running on strongly, and I think that he is worthy of a bit of an upgrade, Get Shirty, and there might be a bit more to come from him down the line. But just the way the race was run, he couldn't get involved. Indeed, nothing that was held up could really get involved. Alfred Boucher getting to the front And then Frankie getting Trawlerman to rally in the closing stages. And why could the horse rally? He rallied because he'd saved so much energy in the early strides. Frankie allowed to plough his own furrow and get across in front of the field without using up precious energy. Brilliant from Dettori. It panned out nicely for him, and Trawlerman is the winner of the Ebor. OK, from York, let's go to Kempton Park on Tuesday for what was their 4 o'clock contest. It was a handicap over 6 furlongs. Willem Twee was 6-5 on. National Gallery was 6-1. Twilight Madness was 15-2. 17-2. Wonder Elzarm and Dream Composer a 12-1 shot. You may think that this is something of a strange choice to put in the verdict, but I think that in the winner, Willem Twee, we've got a very progressive, young and exciting sprinter. Came out of stall number 4. Second home was Wonder Elzarm, who came from stall number 1, and third home was Twilight Madness, who came from stall number 2. So low draws, as ever, at best at Kempton over this sort of trip. Now, Willem Twee holds a big entry. He's entered in the Kipco Sprint on Champions Day at Ascot, which is very interesting because they obviously think quite a lot of this horse, and I think he was absolutely chucked in here in this handicap. He'd been a good winner to Doncaster prior to this, where the race was not strongly run. This was quite strongly run, and he was miles better than these. He won this off a mark of 84, but I'd put it to you that I think he's at least 100 horse, if not better. And he was really impressive. The speed he showed was tremendous. He was slightly compromised by being down on the inside, and he had to look for a bit of room. But once he gets it, he quickens up well. The 5th furlong, he went 11.29 seconds through that 5th furlong to get himself there, furlong pole. That point there, he's done 11.29. Now he just goes away and wins as he likes, pushed out by Danny Muscat, not giving him a hard time, and he's won pretty well. The final 3 furlongs, 34.76 seconds. That was a good effort. This race was quite strongly run, so it was run to suit him. But look at him pulling up there. Here's Pritz. He's got loads in the tank. The only problem he had here was finding a seam to run in. And I think he's a really good sprinter, this horse. And one would like to add that on this day, and perhaps also recently, the track at Kempton's been riding quite deep. Standard to slow, it's officially described as, but horses have been getting tired late on. It's been quite hard work, and they've been struggling to quicken up because it is quite deep. So I do think that this winner, who has got a sharp turn of foot, is probably better than the bare result. I think he'd have been able to quicken even more sharply than he did if he'd got a sounder surface. But nonetheless, he's got the job done in good style. What of the vanquished? Well, Wonder Elzarm from stall 1 finished second. And Wonder Elzarm was always up with the pace, always pushing it along in the early stages, and kept rolling Wonder Elzarm to finish second. And I think Wonder Elzarm can win one of these should he not come up against a progressive young sprinter like he did on this occasion. But if he comes up against the sort of horses that finished in behind him, and he's just got a field of them, he'll win soon, and I think he's suited by the way Kempton rides. So Wonder Elzarm, one to keep an eye on. But this horse, he's miles ahead of his mark. As I said, he won off 84. He's 100 plus all day long. And that man there, James Fanshawe, knows what to do when he's got a goods. And I think this horse is going places.
Well, we've got Canaria Prince winning our sprint handicap with the man on board joining me now, Phil Dennis. He's tough from the front, he just doesn't want to be passed.
He is, yeah, definitely. I mean, he doesn't have to make the run-in, but I just sort of found myself there. He's that strong a traveller early doors. I mean, to me, he felt like he was doing it very much within himself up front there, and whether I think he just got a bit complacent in front. It's a long way up the straight in front, and it was only when the other one got to me, and he actually, I think he must have got upside me, because with the headgear on, it was only late on he saw the other horse, and he went again then, so he was tough.
And from stall 7, if he's easy to go with, you let him go, don't you?
Yeah, going through the race, the other pace was drawn 2 and 3, so I thought we'd try and make the most of a good draw and definitely get a handy pitch if nothing else, and try and bag that rail. It was only at halfway when I got on the rail, but was all pretty smooth enough, really.
And you feel a horse coming, and then you feel him thinking, this is not getting past.
Yeah, like he kind of did feel like he was getting a touch low, only 2 out when I asked him for all of his effort, and it was only really late on when he felt the other horse go, he found another gear really and picked up well then.
Yeah, and he's still on the floor. There's not a lot of miles on the clock.
No, not a lot of miles at all, and you've seen him in the paddock there. He's a big horse, you know. I can't see why he wouldn't just keep improving with time, even as a 5-year-old then.
Yeah. And ground out there, Phil, what would you call it on the straight course that you've just won on?
I'd say it's verging on soft, maybe not quite soft, but it's getting that way, and it's quite loose on top with just that rain yesterday and through the night. So
well done, nice ride.
Thank you. Cheers.
Hard. We're suspending you for 2 days.
Hard.
Hard.
Hard. Well, soft, but you know.
Hard. Hard! Oh, racing is hard. Betting on it shouldn't be. The UK's #1 betting app. Built for ease. Sky Bet. That's betting better.
Imagine the thrill of seeing your horse on the gallops, or the excitement of being in the owner's enclosure before your horse runs. With Top Speed Thoroughbreds, you can enjoy racehorse ownership at a fraction of the cost with some of the country's best trainers. Top Speed Thoroughbreds, a perfect way to enter the exhilarating world of horse racing.
Hi there, welcome back. Our next contest from Musselburgh, just a few minutes there. We'll be joining Ed and Gordon in the paddock shortly. But first up, let's give you a betting market for their feature event, the Robert Roach Portobello Cup, a Class 4 handicap over, well, a very long distance here, unusual trip, 2 miles, 2 furlongs and an extra few yards there, you'll see. Wise Eagle 11-4, High Zoom at 7-2. Delico at 9-2, Gift of Raj an 11-2 chance, 2 Old Pals at 13-2, and bigger prices. The rest, so we're going to get over to 2 good buddies at the track, and we're actually going to pick up number 1 to begin with. One of the fancy runners here, Gordon.
Yeah, the gentleman there at the head of that horse is Adam Nicholl, the former jockey turned trainer, Ed, and that's his horse. That top weight there is number 1, Wise Eagle.
Yeah, tremendously consistent last year, wasn't he? 5 wins, just the 1 win so far this time round, over a mile and a half at Newcastle in March, and his best efforts have come on the all-weather so far this season. But the return to Musselburgh will hold absolutely no fears. 2 wins and a short head second in his 3 visits here so far.
We're just looking at what's in the paddock at the moment. There's one just coming past us, Cliffs of Dunedin for Connor Murtagh and Rose Dobbin, the outsider of the party, Ed, and of course Rose is better known coming here with her jumpers.
Yeah, and he's been jumping of late, has Cliffs of Dunedin. He's been back on the flats. We saw him at Pontefract as a first return, run on the flat for a couple of years, but he finished a long last of 5 over the extended 2-1 at Ponty. He's up in trip again this afternoon.
And just giving another shout out to a jump trainer, we've got number 4 Chivello passing us now for Donald McCain and Graham Lee, Tim Leslie colours on the flat.
Yeah, he's a 7-year-old now, is Chivello. 3 runs so far this year, have got him handicapped, mark of 72 for his handicap debut, but he was at his best around about 2 miles over jump, so whether it extended 2.25 miles on the flat is going to be ideal for him, time will tell.
And then we come to number 5, Gift of Raj. We mentioned this horse when we did our preview for the card. He's got winning form at Catterick and more recently at Doncaster, scrambling home by a nose at Doncaster.
He has. He's also got winning form here, Gordon, over this kind of trip. He won a version of this race 12 months ago. He comes here on the back of a laboured effort at York last time when he was well behind Red Force 1. He needs to bounce back, but he does have Johnny Pete on board to claim 5.
We've already seen the top weight Wise Eagle. We can drop back to find number 8, Idyllico. He won really nicely over hurdles at Perth recently, and his first run on the flat since coming to Diane Sayre from Ian Williams, I thought was quite a good one on that ladies' card at Carlisle.
Yeah, where he finished just behind one of today's rivals, Manjam. He's actually slightly worse off at the weights here with that rival, but a seemingly improved effort over hurdles last time at Perth, where he cut through the field to win a competitive 2.5 mile handicap hurdle. He brings that form here He's a player.
A couple in front of Idyllico coming past the saddling box end of the track. We will come to number 7, Two Old Pals, in the famous Jimmy Long colours, with Cam Hardy riding for Jim Goldie. And of course, Jimmy Long at the moment leading owner at Hamilton Park.
Yeah, with the leading fancy in Friday nights. Lannox, Silver Bell in the course specialist, Wiki Wheels. Two Old Pals has an unusual profile. Didn't make his debut till a 4-year-old. That came in a listed event at Ascot. But having struggled on his first 2 handicap starts, an eye-catching third to his stablemate Wiki Wheels. Last time he's up another 5 furlongs to 2.25 miles here.
Right down the bottom end of the paddock, away from the exit part. We'll come to number 3 now, coming past the saddling boxes. This is High Zoom. Potential pace angle. He or she was given a very enterprising ride as it happened. Went well clear before finishing 9th on one of the Sunday Series races at Haydock recently.
Yeah, it was given an overly aggressive ride on that occasion, Gordon, where she opened up a 30-length lead and was reeled in about a furlong and a half out. Prior to that, we saw her just 2 days earlier when she was 5th to Sir Chauvelin here. She stays well, she's won on good to soft ground, and she's only £2 above her last winning mark.
There's a good look then, Rachel, at the horses in the paddock ahead of this Robert Roach Portobello Cup. It's a handicap over 2 miles and 2 furlongs. Of course, Portobello is just what we'd call a little bit of a beach resort for the residents of the sort of east coast of Scotland, and it's not far from here at Musselburgh. A lot of people learn to swim in an outdoor swimming pool containing seawater, and I can tell from experience it was absolutely freezing.
Oh, I'd say it's cold today too. Nice bit of info on our feature race there as ever from Gordon. The Robert Roach Portobello Cup handicap is next up, Class 4, and Wise Eagle is the favourite still, 11-4. High Zoom at 100-30. Adelico at 18-5. 11-2 for Gift of Raj. 2 Owl Pals at 6-1, and Ciavello at 14-1, and Manjam 14-1. The outsider is Cliffs of Duneen at 50-1. So field of 8. And Gordon, I think we got most of them in the paddock. Were we missing one?
Yeah, we're missing number 6, Manjam. He went out just ahead of, I think it was High Zoom. So Stella Barclay, who's enjoyed a pretty decent season. Faye McManaman takes £3 off the back of a horse head whose last winning mark was a fair bit above what he races off today.
Yeah, he's an 8-time winner, is Manjam, but it's knocking on for 18 months since the last of those, and he's been regularly sent off at big prices. He is... He was much better effort last time, Manjam, when he was finished ahead of Idyllico in that race won by Winford at Carlisle, in a race which actually suited the closers, and he fared best of those that raced up with the pace. So you could possibly mark up that performance a little bit. If he reproduces that run here, then he's certainly a player, but I do just wonder if he's perhaps just lost that winning habit a little bit.
Faye McManaman riding £1 over, incidentally, on Manjam, so she's riding 8-2 instead of 8-1. On Stella Barclay's Manjam. I think it's quite a decent race. Class 4. Wise Eagle, we know, has got winning form at the track. Adelico's got that recent good hurdle win. If I had to call this, I would say it's going to fall out between top and bottom, or maybe, in my preference, bottom and top.
Could well be. I think Wise Eagle, dropping in class here now, Gordon. I think he's got a decent chance. The only thing you would say is perhaps that rain that has come is perhaps not ideal for him. Great course record, as we know, 2 wins and a short head second. He stays well. Dropping grade, as I say, I think should be. We'll see him be very competitive. He's just got to prove if he's as good on this slightly easy ground. I'm sure Adam Nicol, when he got up and saw the going change this morning, was cursing his luck down there in Seahouses.
Yeah, he has the most idyllic setting from his base in Northumberland. These horses exercise on the beach with Bamborough Castle in the background. It's a stunning location. Some of the pictures that you see from there have to be seen to be believed. Idyllico, I was at Perth when he won extremely well over 2.5 miles. His hurdle mark's gone up 6 for that success. I think he was well bought as well. Dennis Coppola is a local owner to these parts. Diane Sayre says he's always been a very loyal supporter of the yard. 16 grand at Doncaster out of the Ian Williams yard last back end.
Yeah, and he's thoroughly versatile, isn't he, between flat and hurdles. The horse had kind of lost the winning habit a little bit, but he seems to have refound it. A couple of wins, I think, over hurdles. As you say, last time he was impressive the way that he swooped through between the second last and the last at Perth to put that race to bed. It was quite a competitive race as well, a 2.5 mile handicap hurdle. If he brings that form back to the flat here, then he's certainly a player. But he perhaps needs to, Gordon, because Manjam, as they finished ahead of him at Carlisle,
yeah, agreed.
Is a pound better off at the weights, but significantly, I think that Manjam's effort last time needed marking up because he was always to the fore in a race that differently suited those that were held up. So I think he does need to bring that improved form to the table here.
And 2 old pals, Jimmy Long's famous Partick Thistle colours, for a horse he's never quite... he's never troubled to judge yet, but he went. I thought it was a good effort at Hamilton Park, that third last time, Ed.
It was. First real sign of form in handicaps behind his stablemate Wiki Wheels. Of course, she'll be in action in the £100,000 Lanark Silver Bell on Friday night at Hamilton. But that was an eye-catching run. It was over 1.5 miles. It was the first time, 1.5 miles, I should say. It was the first time that he's tackled that trip. He's now up another 5 furlongs to 2 mile 2. Jimmy Long has made the journey across from the west of Scotland to watch his horse in action here. Sounding quite confident if he stayed the trip. Whether he will or not is the big question. He's by the Carbon Unit, who was 1.25 miles horse out of Lady Jock, I think won at just over 1 mile and no further. So whether he's going to stay 2.25, who knows?
There's Adelico going into the stalls from stall 5. Gift of Raj, Ed, final word.
Yeah, he's the only horse that's won over this trip before, but again, he's a multiple winner, Gift of Raj. Won a version of this race last year, but all of his wins have come on better ground, Gordon, so he's one of those that might be disadvantaged by the rain that came overnight.
So the starting point then, round about the 7 furlong marker at Musselburgh. They come all the way round the home straight, past the winning post, and then a complete circuit, Tomo, of Musselburgh ahead of them. It's a marathon.
It's a Zarowich, isn't it? It really is. Last one going in the Robert Roach Portobello Cup. Over £10,000 awaits the winner. 8 runners. They're off. Here we go, over 2.5 miles and a pretty good level break. The last one to leave the gate was Manjam, but let's see who's going to take them along in the very early stages. 2.25 miles in front of them. And Juvello is the horse who's going on. In second place in the red sleeves is High Zoom. Then third place on the rails, that one there is Gift of Raj. Keeping that company in the red and yellow is Wise Eagle. Towards the outside in the very pale colours, Cliffs of Deneen. Then towards the inside in the blue and yellow, Manjam. Then behind this in the chevrons, we've got Idyllico. Behind Idyllico is 2 Old Pals. And the back marker early on is Cliffs of Deneen. As they come round to the home straight for the first time, remember, still over a circuit and a half left to run in this Robert Roach Portobello Cup. And up front, it's Juvello. Graham Lee riding for Donald McCain, 2 Grand National winners. Then on the outside, in second place, Hazam. Sam James rides that. Tucked in on the inside in the light blue colours is Gift of Raj, Johnny Pete. Then in the red with the yellow seams, Wise Eagle, Danny Tudhope. The blue and yellow against the rails of Manjam, that is Faye McManaman. Tracking this in the white with the maroon chevrons, Idyllico and Andrew Mullen. Against the rails in the black and yellow is 2 Old Pals and Cam Hardy, and the back marker is still Cliffs of Dunoon and Conomerta. So that's the order as they come up towards us in the grandstand. Remember, still over a circuit to run in this, our big race of the day, the £20,000 Portobello Cup. Up front, it is Juvello, who leads under Graham Lee. Just has a glance across at the big screen and he sees he's 3 parts of a length in front of High Zoom in second place. Third on the inside is Gift of Raj. Fourth on the outside is Wise Eagle. Fifth on the inside is Manjam. Sixth on the outside is Idyllico. Seventh on the inside, 2 Old Pals, and the back marker is still Cliffs of Duneen. That's the order as they swing right-handed towards the back straight. So down the back straight they go, then the home straight. So they've got about a mile left to run in this Robert Roach Portobello Cup. No change up front with the Donald McCain trained Juvello having the lead, taking them along at a respectable clip. On the inside in second is Gift of Raj from the Roger Fell stable. Up on the outside, the Keith Dalgiddish chained Hey Zoom. Behind these in the red colours, Wise Eagle from the Adam Nicol yard. Then the blue and yellow colours of Manjam, trained by Stella Barkley. On the outside of that is Idyllico from the Diane Sayer stable. On the inside, it's 2 Old Pals from the Jim Goldie yard. And keeping that one company is Cliffs of Dunoon from the Rose Dobbin stable. Down the far side they go, past where they started from. They've got about 6 furlongs left to run in the Portobello Cup. And it's still Chuvello who has the lead. Poised on the outside is Hazum. On the inside in third is Gift of Raj. Keeping that one company in the red colours is Wise Eagle. Scraping the paint on the inside in the blue and yellow is Manjam. Towards the outside is Idilico. Here they come back towards us. Just over half a mile left to run in the Robert Roach Portobello Cup, the big race of the day. And Chuvello has the lead. High Zoom is poised on the outside. Third on the inside, that is Gift of Raj. Then behind this is Wise Eagle. Then the red chevrons taking closer order. Idilico. Manjam is pushed along. So here they come down the home straight. 3 furlongs left to run against the rails. Chuvello in second place in the red sleeves. This one here is High Zoom in the red colours. Wise Eagle is beginning to make a forward move. On the outside we've got Idilico. Then comes Gift of Raj coming down now towards the final quarter mile. And in the red colours, Wise Eagle, Danny Tuttle moving well. He's looking round for the dangers. In second place on the inside is High Zoom. Up on the outside, Gift of Raj is coming late. But it is Wise Eagle, Danny Tuttle, who's got a commanding 2-length advantage inside the final furlong. Wise Eagle is romping away with the Portobello Cup. This is a good performance. Wise Eagle wins and wins well. In second place, High Zoom, possibly third in a photo, Chuvello, or on the outside, Gift of Raj.
Yeah, well, if Danny Tudhope had wanted to unleash the handbrake, then he could have done so, but he didn't really need to. And Wise Eagle showed a top weight of 9 stone 9 to victory in the Robert Roach Portobello Cup. For second place High Zoom, it looks as if Gift of Raj's stud will confirm that, with Chuvello, the long-time leader, back and forth in a gap back to the remainder. So, as we were saying beforehand, Ed, a horse that's got plenty of winning form at Musselburgh, dropping ever so in grade. Wise Eagle ran a big race, didn't he, in the Vaz, the consolation race for the Northumberland Plate at Newcastle, and a lot to like about this.
Yeah, back up in trip from 1.5 miles last time in the bell ringer at Ripon. Down in grade as well, and he absolutely capped it all over. If it was a boxing match, the referee would stop the fight. A furlong out, Danny Tuthope looking round for non-existent dangers. He's just in a different gear here, and whatever the winning margin is, what maybe a length and a half or so, that does not do justice at all to the superiority with which Wise Eagle has given his rivals weight and a beating.
Just confirming as well, as suspected, Gift of Raj has got third, which means Chuvello is in fourth as we pick it up mid-race, and it's probably just turning out of the back straight in the final circuit, Ed, that there was an injection of pace.
Yeah, belated injection of pace, Gordon. Look at the first 4 runners there, almost 2 separate races here. The front 4 at this stage fill the front 4 paces. It looked to be pretty much a married man's gallop for much of the race. It was only as they left the back straight when they started to inject a little bit of pace. It was Graham Lee on Chuvello that dictated things. No charging off in front tactics from High Zoom today.
No.
He's content to track the pace. She's run well. I think there's another handicap to be picked up with her. She's already been a good buy for this particular yard, and her owner Stuart Morrison, but I think she can win a staying handicap back on easy ground throughout the autumn. But you can see the jockeys on the other 4 runners. Admittedly, some of those were the outsiders, but they're all starting to get urgent, realising now that they've got no gallop at all and that they are going to be in a bit of trouble. Idilico has probably not been in the perfect position as a result, but ultimately he's proved disappointing and well beaten back on the flat.
Yeah, he has, after that impressive success at Perth, but this is where the winner cruises into contention, coming between the 3 and the 2 pole, and it's just, you know, Danny Tuthope, I don't know how many times he looks round, look between his legs, one way then the other. What about the disappointment of the race for me, or one of them, Ed? 2 old pals.
Yeah, I think just positionally he's not been in a good position at all. He has run on okay. It's hard to say if he's conclusively stayed this trip given how slowly they've gone and he was held up, but he's got an unusual profile, this horse. I wouldn't write him off just yet, but look at the winner. Just a different gear completely. Winning on the slowest ground he's ever won on, and that was the concern, but he's allayed those fears in no uncertain terms. Gift of Raj as well, another horse who all of his best form on top of the ground. He's run well to take third in defence of this particular race title. Admittedly, it was a much weaker race last year, but Wise Eagle, what a tremendous servant he's been to a small trainer like Adam Nicol, and having perhaps dipped below the high standards he set last year. He's won again here, and have we got the Musselburgh Gold Cup coming up here in September over 2 miles? I dare say he'll be in line for a crack at that, given his remarkable record here of 3 wins now and 1 sure-head defeat.
Day after the Ledger as well. It's going to be a big day, that. So Wise Eagle dropping back into Class 4, and he's below his last winning mark today. He'll go back up again. But Adam Nicol, there he is with the puffer jacket on, former jump jockey based on the Northumberland coast. Danny Tudhope does the steering for the Sea Houses Syndicate. That's a local bunch of owners, Rachel. Wise Eagle, I don't think Danny Tudhope's ridden as easy a winner for many a long day.